We need flag bearers in the new patch. That's right. Finally, a voice of reason. MCAT comes in and reiterates what's really important. We need people carrying the banners on the field. She just said ruin. That was definitely extreme. No, it's okay. I mean, maybe you could say you really dislike the direction of that change, in which I would absolutely agree with you. The Instacast frag was a great boost. It was a in-combat thing you could see. It had counterplay to it, a whole lot. It could be blocked, it could be dodged, it could be reflected. But it had a good punch to it, so if you didn't pay attention, you paid the price. Those kind of mechanics are great. I highly encourage more use of things like that in the game. However, it's not there. I understand that. To say the class, as a result, has been put in some bad place, though, is more than a stretch. It's just grossly inaccurate, you know? So it's important to separate those things. It's important not to take one thing and say, I don't like this change, and as a result, it's all fucked. It sucks, by the way. Also, it's the most popular thing in Battlegrounds, but it's just terrible. It's because as a result, for me to sit here and do what I enjoy doing, talking with Chad about changes, I can't do it. I can't take that and give you a reasonable response. Juke of the rest last night, I didn't. I just left it here, and I said I'd do it when I got back on. PG Magic Sorks are a legit meme. Confirmed. Class coming out. All right. I guess in Sork, no. Let's keep moving forward. There's a lot of chat I'll see, and some of it I'll respond to. A lot of it I will not get to as I go through. Just public service announcement again for that. You seem down, bro. I'm not, Lewos. Thank you for the pick me up, dude. I'm not down. I'm having my coffee. I slept in a bit. Just chilling, dude.
Hello, cutie pie.
Wow. There's a pick me up. Lewos gifting in 10 subs, dude. 10 brand new orc recruits. Bring them in here. Line them up. Hand them a sword. Put a shield on their arm. Send them to the front line. Hell yeah, brother. Thank you. You seem up, bro. JW, I just woke up. I'm not up, dude. I'm level. I'm level. Energy levels are right in the middle. Right in the middle. It's up to you guys. Lewos has just kicked it up a notch. Energy levels are rising. All right. We got walls to build, people. Let's go. All right. That's the Dominion rally charge. Okay. The orcs are not here to build walls. Understand? We're here to take lives. Right? Let's do this. Get the latch note started. All right. We tear them down. Wall just got 10 feet higher. Hell yeah, brother. Sargasm with 200 bits. Thank you, dude. What up, Fang? Just got home from work. Anything I need? Warning before I log in. No, no warnings are needed. You can log in normally, unless you're on the EU. Server's down.
How do you like your ribs?
Just kidding. It's not down. I don't think it is. I hope it's not. But PTS is coming today. I probably won't get to it. I'll probably be doing patch notes the whole time. Scribblings, thank you for 500 bits, dude.
Hello, cutie pie.
Lewos gifting in.
One of us is in
Ermu.
deep trouble.
Another one coming in. Thank you, dude. Another one. Good luck and God bless. Thank you, Scrib. You seem eviscerated. What happened? Yes. All right. Is this a react stream? Fuck, man. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's do it. See, now the energy levels are better, JW. 101 notifications. Pay no attention to it. LOM changes every day. So it's always 101. And then 100 friend requests. That's where they cap. That's where it stops. That's where it ends. That's where we move forward. Bin Flow. 5 months.
It's showtime.
It's showtime. Just got some popcorn. I'm ready. Hell yeah, brother. Kevin G with goddamn $35 donate, dude. Kevin G. Before we really dig into these, I think we need to get to the real issue. Bring goblins back to Cyrodiil. They're the fellow worshippers of Malakath and deserve the orc army support. Make goblins great again. Probably accept the poly creation. Yes. Yes, they took them out some time ago. Who was the goblin leader? What was his name? Fuck. Who's the my coffee hasn't clicked in. I can't think of even the guild name. Fuck, dude. Bolg, leader of, and king of goblin. Okay, Bolg. All right. Dub? No. Who was the guild leader of that guild? Dub was not the first goblin of his kind. Mubs may be the first goblin, but he's a renegade goblin. There was no other goblin like Mubs. Gobstar, get real. Kevin G, thank you for the $35 donate, dude. I would like, you know what I'd like them to do? I'd like them to fix Pirate Skeleton, so you don't need a polymorph, then nerf it. I know that seems extreme, that it's a two-step process, but they're both required. Thank you. Goblin Sama, yes. Okay. Goblin Sama would be happy to hear this.
Hello, cutie.
Pause
pie.
009 is bringing in 5 gifted subs.
One of us is in
Energy levels
deep trouble.
rising. King Griffin, welcome in. Striker. Dawid Johnson. Stavenu, welcome in. Lena Mortal. 5 brand new ones. Pause. Thank you, dude. Another one. Hell yeah. Some more caffeine for you. Let's do it. They at least need to change major protection to 20% from 30%. That, and doing something like that might be a decent compromise. That's still going to be very strong. But yes, something needs to be touched there. Anyway, let's see what's in front of us. Let's get to it. Zerona? No. Aurelia, that's his name. All right, he was always about his goblin. He was very sad when they nerfed his goblin. The goblin could not only bypass Pirate Skeleton, it skipped animations and shit too, though. Very OP. Very OP. Okay. Chat and Fenris, I need advice. Warden or Templar healer? Go. They're both very good. Templar's easier to play. Less clicking to get the job done. Warden will require a little more clicking. They both can do other stuff on top of providing just healing support, though. They're both great. Aurelia's Goblin Sama. Yeah, exactly. Have you read them before stream? I have not, no. I promise you I haven't. Dark mode engaged? Alright, let's do it. Flip it on. Woo! You guys ready? Here we go. I am going to miss a lot of chat. I apologize. Let's do it. Two-handed. Weapon, combat, and abilities. Here we go. Bring back two-handed. Let's make it great again. And this is part 2, by the way. We're going from class abilities and beyond whatever's down here. We already did classes and equipment, and I think that's kind of it. But that was a lot. Okay. Two-handed Berserker Strike. This is the ultimate. This ability and its morphs will now deal damage in a 5-meter radius if the initial hit successfully hits. Note the initial hit can still be dodged, since the initial attack is not an AoE. That's pretty nice. So not exactly a comb, but a short AoE. But the target can dodge it. This hits a lot better since the roll dodge changes. The roll dodge changes, not a fan of them, by the way. Really don't like that. Whatever they ever did to roll dodges, they're very unreliable. So a lot of things hit through them. This one included. But that's another issue. I'm not going to go into that one. Basically, the roll dodge changes, though, ultimately make it much easier to hit things that should be dodged. Okay? That's the short of it. And that's wild that this thing's going to hit AoE. Well, let's see what they changed here. Onslaught. This morph no longer refunds the ult cost if you get a killing blow. Instead, it converts the physical and spell resistance that it would grant into physical and spell pen, and increase the duration from 8 seconds to 16. It also no longer ranks up. Are they saying you get 16 seconds of pen off the damage? Oh, goodbye, Dawnbreaker. Welcome in, Berserker Strike. Hell yeah, brother. That's really strong. I don't think that's going to last 16 seconds. Okay. What does that mean to a maximum? Oh, I guess that's when it's max rank. That's 100% pen? It's not 100%. Unless you already have some other pen built in. Why are we saying it's comparable to corrosive? Doesn't it factor the pen based off damage? Or am I misinterpreting that? Then we get a free 30k pen, like if you can hit for 30k, right? Doesn't it do pen based off damage? It only works on killing blow. Oh, really? Various dudes bad actually okay, but going over them is a nightmare. So much to talk about. Yeah, there is. What's up, Biss? How you doing, brother? Probably still have to get the killing blow. Pen based on opponent's resistances. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Skill ignores 100% pen. That's right. I thought they were saying your damage would be converted to pen. But yeah, you guys are right. Because it already does that. Okay. Well, I think even though you have to kill the target to get that impact, that seems really a long time, 16 seconds. I think this skill may stay, but I think that time may change. Okay? That's strong. Okay? I don't know if you actually need the killing blow. Well, none of us do. We'll see on the PTS. I think it'd be a safe thing to assume, though it's not listed here. Where are you reading it? You need to kill the target. It's not on here. I think that's an assumption based on how the old version of Onslaught functioned. Onslaught only functioned if the kill. You'd only get the bonus effect with a kill. So that might be more reasonable if that's the case. If you can just pop it, and as long as it's not dodged and it hits, you get all the effects for 16 seconds, that's going to be a little too easy. Okay. A dev said you do yesterday. That you what? That you get it anyway? I'm tired of Dawnbreaker, yeah. I mean, Dawnbreaker has its other benefits. It has a dot attached to it. It's an AoE stun. So it's different. This is another version of something for melee, which is nice. The hell yeah. The tank meta that's going to be really strong. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be busting ass with a fucking two-hander. Alright, so we'll move forward. Kill a person, that's fine. If that's what it requires. Cleave, carve, reduce the damage over time by approximately 9%. Okay. Crit charge, crit rush. Increase the damage bonus scaling this ability to 50 from 40. Okay. Stampede. This morph no longer snares enemies hit. Instead, it now crushes the earth beneath you upon reaching your target, causing area damage to happen every second for an 8-second duration. This ability is balanced around the AoE dot standards. That doesn't seem very useful. It seems nice, but it's like one of those ground AoEs that, like, if you're hitting people, like, okay, if they stay in that area, but does that really happen? Probably not. I doubt that's very good. Crit rush damage scaled up, guaranteed crit. Well-built damage builds can make great use of crit rush. Weaving that with, like, heavies and stuff I've always enjoyed doing. So probably just stick with the crit rush. Rip Stampede back to crit rush. They go, yeah, Stampede was nice for its slow. I don't know why they wanted to take it off. Maybe they felt there was too much utility into. I don't know, but whatever. Crit rush, way to go. I can't imagine where you're gonna want to. Does that make sense? I mean, no, it doesn't. Like, that's not even a great PvE thing. I mean, this is borderline creating a dead morph, I think. That's just how PvP works. If this is created for PvP, if you gap close into people, they're not just going to stand there. You know, if people just stood in AoEs, we'd be using Endless Hail in PvP, okay? We'd just be, say, drop the arrows on them. We wouldn't need Stampede. It just that's not how it works. So, with the VMA two-handed Stampede equal an AoE dot set, it's not going to apply this to AoE. Those things are completely separate. It's good for cubby fights, sure. It could be used in certain areas. I'm not saying it's completely worthless, but we'll see, dude. We'll see. We'll see how big that AoE is. But all right, Executioner increased the execute multiplier to 400% from 350. That's a lot of damage. That draws more of a contrast from Reverse Slice, the other morph option. So okay, that's nice. Heavy weapons axe bleed from this ability now ticks every second instead of every 2, and has its total damage increased by approximately 24%. Hell yeah. Okay. We're gonna make two-handed axe a little better. All right, fair enough. And it ticks every second. Yeah, because the other bleeds do, right? Okay. We still have to test bleeds on the PTS, see how they feel. Momentum. Reduce the duration of its ability in morph to 20 from 30. Reduce the cost very slightly. Its ability in morphs no longer apply a heal over time, but instead will grant major evasion. Whoa. Yo. Anomaly. Thank you for 37 months, dude. Holy shit. SOB. Getting the next badge. I'm getting up there, brother. We're going to have to in a few months. Dude, thank you for 3 years and counting. Welcome back. Bringing the guns. Damn, I want that. The Predator badge. It looks nice. All right. Thank you again for the resub. Instead, it will grant major evasion instead of the duration of the... So wait, it still does brutality, right? But instead, you will grant you major evasion for the duration of the major brutality. Okay. Wow. So it's gonna... They're offering major evasion much easier here. You can get evasion and brutality tied in with... Is that on both morphs? That's the unmorphed version, Momentum, right? Yeah. So evasion's just built into this now. But no more heal through two-hander. At least right there on the base skill. Mash, thank you for 6 months. Sorry, not been around, Lisa. Had a lot of... Hey, that's all right, dude. No need to apologize. Thank you for a half year. Welcome back in. Another one. You're the resub, man. Suck it, shuffle. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that, we'll see. I expect there's probably changes to that, too. We'll get there. Forward momentum. This morph now reduces in cost as the ability ranks up. Okay. Rally. Increase the baseline heal from this ability by 100%, but reduce the max scaling to 300 from 564. Heal will now require the full 20-second duration to reach the max bonus, instead of reaching its max bonus 70% of the way through. Okay. So it's going to be much less of a reliable means of healing, Rally, basically. It won't heal as much. And it's going to require more time to get off a nice big spike heal rather than just go out, deal a good amount of damage, like 10 or 15 seconds in, and fully heal yourself. All right. So they really took a stab at nerfing there. They removed all means of clearing movement through this, it appears. There's nothing that gives you immunity or anything. They removed that from momentum entirely. No snare removal? Yeah, no snare removal, nothing. Okay. And instead they gave it evasion, which is already on shuffle, currently at least. It's already on dual wield as well. We have means of evasion. It's movement we have difficulty with. We want to move. We want to be able to move our feet, you know? I think forward still has it. Are you sure? It doesn't seem that way. Oh, thank you, babe. I think forward snare. It still has snare removal. How do we know this? Thank you, baby. It doesn't say they removed the immunity, though, which would have been stated, so it's probably still there. It wasn't on the baseline of momentum, so you think it's still in the forward momentum, maybe? Okay, I guess we'll find out. Either way, it's not a easy heal over time anymore for free. Do you think they buff the overall damage of two-handed to compensate for the loss of healing from momentum? I don't think they buff damage as a means to compensate what they're changing here. No, personally, I don't think so. I think they want it to. I think if they probably want to put damage in two-handed maybe a bit more, and but it looks like they're wiping out the easy means of survival here, or the ease in survival. Isn't a bigger heal at 20 seconds. The 100% base increase means it should double and then do a max increase of another 300%. So it isn't it more like 600%. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Possibly. I mean, it doesn't have the heal over time at all, though, right? Scaling bonus. Like the heal over time is a big part of it. Just use vigor. Yeah, of course, but you used to have vigor and just the general momentum ticking. BTS just went live. That's good. I'm not going to be able to get on it yet. I'm going to read through the notes. Kind of gutting stam healing. I wouldn't say it's gutted here. I don't know. We're not through everything. Let's keep moving forward.
You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. Uppercut. Reduce the cast time of this ability is morphs to 0.8 from 1 to help its reliability when being used in fast combat. Hell yeah, brother. Reduce the cost. Wow, that's already huge right there. Increase the damage from this ability by approximately 9%. Fuck yeah, brother. We're bringing 2H back. It's happening. People are getting knocked around. Can already see it. Dizzying Swing. This morph will no longer rank up in damage and stun duration. Instead, it will just rank up in stun duration since that is the morph focus. Yeah. All right. We're going to be knocking people up in the air. I can see it. It's happening. They nerfed the uppercut damage last patch and buffed it this patch. They did. It was nerfed. They moved the cast time too. Now it's moved down. Buff damage up. Cost down. Hell yeah. The hammers are going to be swinging, baby. The new Dizzying Swing will no longer skip the entire global cooldown. So now you won't be able to instantly follow up with another skill or ult. You have to wait at least 200 milliseconds in between. If you followed up with one of the ults that now have a cast time, there'll be a 600 ms delay. Well, you're not instantly pressing it. As soon as your uppercut finishes, you're not firing the next. You're weaving like at least a light in there, dude. Always want to weave the lights. Well, thank you. I tried one of those last night. Yeah. They I wouldn't say that, but sometimes I could. They leave a refreshing feeling.
I'm just gonna do this here.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. If uppercut's back and it's time to be fast again, that's right. Time to retire surprise attack. Hey, Thogard already did. I think. He does gap close uppercut. Check him out. Scott in, what's your overall opinion on 2H changes? Mainly momentum / rally. The wind?
No. Take 2.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I was gonna say, storm's coming. What are my thoughts on it? I mean, they're knocking off the heal over time, and I don't know. There's buffs to compensate throughout two-handed here. Obviously, what they want to get away from is having that as a general heal over time. So, what are my thoughts on it? I don't know. There's find ways to survive. That's the thing. There's always ways to make up for it elsewhere if you need to. But actually making the skills better is just gonna that's actually probably more impactful, I'd say. A heal nerf on 2H will hit solo. Yeah. They've been hitting solo for a long time. Yeah. But honestly, solo's been degraded a lot over time. The only place you could do solo pretty well is if you're not stealthing or something. is like just being on CP and beating the shit out of people that are like mid-level CP. They don't have the right equipment, and you're rotating like, you know, constant heals with 7th and Fury. Like, if you feel good about that, that's okay. God bless. But
Son of a bitch.
there's nothing really impressive about that anymore. There really isn't. Like, you can literally look up that build and just execute it and be like, rotate these heals with this equipment on, and you're going to be like double power on that guy. You know? It's kind of all it is at this point. It's less about the choices you make, the skills you dodge, and the abilities you counter there. So, it is what it is. I mean, CP PvP is a fucking mess. Sucks anyway. So. Even CP is not possible unless against absolute potatoes. Well, that's where a lot of potatoes go. They don't go to no CP. A lot of people say a lot of potatoes go to no CP, and there are in both places, but a lot of people want to use their CP. That's their default. They see what's populated, they go there. They want to see that.
It's about to happen. I just did that for you.
It's gonna upgrade?
Yeah, I did it.
Hell yeah.
So I'm gonna add some now.
More Peepo happies?
So many people.
There's gonna be a lot of more Peepos coming in. Ink Jesus, 31 months, brother. Welcome back. Thank you for the resub. Okay. Let's keep moving, alright? Let's have people hearing that. It's reality, dude. I mean, for me, quite honestly, what I do on stream, a lot of Orc Army stuff, and like, I can't even solo PvP if I wanted to, really. I can't do it on stream. There's either people follow me, but there's a lot more people that just run around and stream snipe, too. That happened for months, and it led me to taking a break from the game, because I got really annoyed with it. So I did other stuff to keep things fun, and I just kind of have to do that because I'm streaming. If I PvP, I'm streaming. I've run out a couple times when I'm not streaming. It's a completely 100% different experience when I feel like I could just run around and do stuff, though I don't play much at all off stream now. So for me, a little different. Okay, let's keep moving. Dizzy's back, yeah. Two-handed, buffed, okay? Momentum hit, healing hit, yes, absolutely. Momentum was hit. Everything else, buff. Oh, buff. Cleave, not buffed. But let's just say it's buffed anyway, because it feels good. Crit charge, little buff and crit rush. And then AoE, we can check that out. We can see how that is. Bleed, buff. Uppercut, hell yeah, brother, buff. All right, a lot of aggression in the two-handed changes. I like it. I like it. All right. School's going to delete my email when the new school year starts. They do it. Wait, is there an easy way to... Dude, JW, are you really... right now?
Wait, what?
During the Patch Notes review, JW wants to ask me about his school deleting his email address with the new school year starting. And they do their emails through Outlook. Is there an easy way to save the emails I've gotten? Manually forward them one at a time, JW. Son of a bitch, dude. Axe bleeds are going to be good. I mean, they're already good. The two-handed's already pretty good. The big change there with it is it's going to tick more frequently, and it's actually going to do more damage. So, what do you think would be the best magic class? I don't know. I haven't made it there to see everything. Okay. Here we go. One-handed and shield.
You son of a bitch.
Magplar, LOL. Weren't people saying Magplar was nerfed? My memory may escape me a bit, but I don't remember seeing much. I'm trying to think, what was bad there? What was like really bad to Magplar? They reworked Eclipse into some like semi-ult looking skill that did everything the strongest CC in the game does, plus a slow, and it does it over time with no cooldown, and it's not a CC anymore. Unless it does CC, which is up to the...
You son of a bitch.
Buffed, yeah, like... And Magplar is already very strong out there in light armor, and they have such great sets to pair with light armor. Whether it's Pirate Skeleton or Steadfast, which is 100% under their control, both of them getting nerfed is probably not happening. Like, that class is already very fierce, and it has a lot of damage packed into it too. It really does. Magplar would do 25% less damage to All-Stam, because All-Stam will be running Major Evasion now. That's true. You will see more Major Evasion likely. Not many people run it right now. And it's a very strong buff. So, yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. We'll see. One-handed and shield. Let's keep it moving. Defensive posture. Here we go. This is the shield skill. Rework this ability and it's morphed into a damage shield rather than a weird buff. These abilities no longer passively reduce the cost of block or increase the amount of damage you can block while they are slotted.
Son of a bitch.
Reduce the duration of the bonus from this ability to 6 seconds from 30. Increase the cost to 43 from 24. The damage shield scales off 30% of your max health, similarly to other damage shields like Bone Shield or Sun Shield. This ability will continue to reflect once, but will now reflect any projectile rather than only spell projectiles. Reflecting an attack does not consume the shield. Defensive stance. This ability no longer stuns the target if you successfully reflect an attack. Instead, the morph reintroduces the passive, which now increases to a maximum of 10% block mitigation and cost reduction. So this morph will instead, if you pull off a successful reflect, it will now increase your block mitigation. You get better at blocking at your shield if you reflect something. And then the Absorb morph. This morph now called Absorb Missile because it can absorb any ranged attack instead of just magical ones. Reduce the damage shield to 30 from 50. Increase the heal granted from an absorbed ranged attack by approximately 29%. Will no longer remove the shield. Okay, so in both cases, they absorb one projectile, right? One. And then the rest of it still carries out. And basically, it's more of a damage shield buff now. And it gets additional function from any, and that's probably a light attack too, right? Now here's the other thing: this ability no longer stuns a target. So for the absorb, the second morph, if you absorb a heavy ranged attack, like say you absorb a frag, does that impact the shield size, or does that count as a absorb that goes into, it just gets deleted, so to speak? I don't know how that's gonna function. Damage shield sounds nice. I quite like the old morphs of this, and obviously the passes were nice. But it scales off 30% of your max health, and you get like one thing that gets reflected or something. Shield plus absorb first range plus heal. Yeah. It will be absorbed and heal you. Okay. So it'll function as which the reason I ask is if you absorb something very strong, do you get to keep the rest of the shield? You know what I mean? Which I imagine is how it should be. Generally speaking, Bone Shield with both morphs are better. Yeah, I quite like, especially the Bone Shield that increases healing. Now, however, Bone Shield costs stamina. This one is, am I right in saying that? Bone Shield's stamina. And so is this, Oh, wait, no, this isn't stamina. This is Magicka. Still Magicka? Right? Both are stamina? That's right. I'm thinking of the Asylum Sword and Board, because we used to pair this with it. I'm trying to think about its use case with it. Well, I guess it's a means of healing, huh? Shield stack and stamina can come in. Yeah, get ready, brothers. Why is anything being reflected by the shield when wings don't reflect anything? Because they wanted to rework how wings worked. I mean, wings reflected multiple things. The thing is, this only reflects... You only have been able to get one out of this, and it's too costly to spam for one. That's all. I know the PTS stuff. We're going through the patch notes, so thank you. All right. Let's keep moving. So interesting with that. I'll probably look at it more in the PTS. I'd like to see it more. Fortress increased the cost reduction bonus from this passive to 715 from 5 to 10 to match our stamina weapon standards. Okay. So that's just one of the sorting board passives. That's a buff. Low Slash. Reduce the damage dealt from this ability in Heroic by approximately 31%. These two abilities will no longer snare targets. Heroic. Minor heroism granted from this morph will now last 12 seconds, up from 9 to better match the duration of other bonuses. Okay. So that's still working, but less damage. Deep Slash. This was the one that did the AoE. This ability now hits all targets in a 6-meter radius of your target, instead of only 2. This morph now deals the same damage to all targets hit and deals our AoE damage standard. The morph also retains the 30% snare. So it's an AoE snare on a sorting board? I mean, both these are still good. It's still a good skill. They knock down the damage dealt by 31%. This is probably the most relevant part of it all. But they're both still good morphs. They're they're definitely striking at the damage of Heroic Weave there. But this thing can hit an area now, which is pretty interesting. That's actually, I was expecting some kind of nerf coming in here, and it wasn't. That's instead of just like firing on 2 different targets behind and splash, just hit an area, and 5 meters is not bad. You know, it's kind of that standard one. So, all right, Power Bash. This ability is now considered a spammable attack, and adjustments have been made to properly place it in that category. The ability no longer stuns at base. This is reverb, by the way, guys, the base value. The ability no longer stuns at its base. Okay. Increase the damage dealt by all versions by approximately 94%. Okay. Let me just stop there real quick. Low Slash is kind of a spammable. Ransack's kind of a spammable. And now they're making one of the bash spammables. Seems kind of weird to have 3 spammables potentials in the sorting board. Seems strange to me. But okay. Rather than like situational ones, for example, with Two-Hander, you have a gap closer. You use that to close the gap. You have Uppercut, which is sort of your spammable, but it's a CC as well. You have an Execute, which is used for executing. You have Cleave, which is your AoE skill. It's a skill line that really makes sense. It looks like there's a couple spammables in here, right? They made Low Slash and Ransack less spammable, reduce the damage on both of them. Yeah, I guess that's the point. All right. Power Bash have cast time, bad spammable. I see. Okay. Let's keep reading it anyway. Reduce the cost to $2,700 from $3,780, so it's not nearly as expensive. Reverb. Reverb morph. This morph retains the stun with a max duration of 3, but it no longer applies to file. Strange spammable. The other one, the initial hit. Wait, did they increase the damage? Okay. The initial hit damage is now halved. And it'll deal the other half of the damage when the stun ends. If the target is CC immune, it will not gain the other half of the damage. Okay. Alright. Power Slam. Rework the passive this ability grants. Passive is now called Resentment because you're an angry person when you get hit. Resentment activates after blocking any attack and grants you additional 5% damage on your next Power Slam. This bonus stacks up to 10 times. Lasts 5 seconds, but you can only gain 1 stack every 250 milliseconds to match the cooldown of blocks, cost, cadence. So this can go up to 50% more. Grants you 5% additional damage on your next Power Slam. The bonus stacks up to 10 times. But I guess Yeah, and it only applies on your next attack. So what this means, if you're really getting pounded on, it would take you a bit to build one up, but once you use that one hit, it resets the percent increase, at least. Overall, the skill's still pretty cheap. It's being reworked to 2,700. And its damage is upped by a lot. So this could be some serious damage here. This one places a CC, but you can still get a CC through the other one, unless they change the gap closer shield charge. We'll see, I guess. Huh. Okay. 6K bash.
Can you do a refresh in F5?
On this? Oh, yeah. All right, hang on. I got to refresh chat.
F5. And then open that up. I just want to see if it's there.
Okay. We got to test this real quick. Not yet, yeah.
Okay. Guess it takes.
Just hold block for 2 to 3 seconds, then it'll fully prime your power bash. Yeah. So that's not bad, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, that's actually really good damage. This would still be your ideal use case if you wanted to go be Mr. Solo and kind of knock down some nerds that are, you know, jumping on you. Having a tanky build with something like this is still useful. Okay. It's channeled bed for spamming. You mean the wind up on the hit? Anonymous, thank you for the $5 donate with no message.
It's showtime.
It's showtime. Thank you, dude. Currently, Onslaught does not require a killing blow. Okay. Yeah, that's very strong then. That's very strong. Puncture. This is the first skill. We're putting things out of order here. Feels misled man. What's up, Frosty? Welcome in. If he doesn't have a CC, it'll be 100% useless. The only reason Dizzy is good, even the cast time, is because of the CC. Cast time skill without CC is garbage. Okay, so the cast time on the uppercut's a lot different than this one. That's not always true what you're saying either. But this is not like a long animation, if that's what we're talking about. Like, is it an instant spammable, like, surprise attack or ransack or something? No, it's not. It does have a wind up, but it's not like a 0.8 second cast time. You know?
Son of a bitch.
Puncture's more of a buff debuff now. Alright. Thank you. Let's read it. Reduce the damage dealt in this ability and Morris by about 37%, but reduce the cost dramatically to an already super cheap. Increase the duration of the fracture to 15 from 12 to match the taunt duration. Ransack, this morph no longer grants minor ward and resolve. Instead, it grants minor protection for 15. Wow. Okay. And the other one, the major breach from this morph now also lasts 15 seconds. Wow. It certainly is a buff debuff thing now. But that's not bad. Let's go live probably in about a month. PTS is going live today. Just went live. You Arius. Tanks rejoice. Yeah. A little cheaper there. Shield charge. Increase the shield size of this ability by about 25%. I liked Invasion more. Invasion, reduce the max bonus of the stun to 50 from 88. The max stun will now last 6 seconds. Down from 7.52. Yeah. I've hit some people with 7.52ers. And they don't get up. That's some funny shit when they're just laying there. You can watch an ad in that time. 6 seconds still really long. Yeah, you hit people that are running from a fight rocket with this thing, and they'll just lay there. They just sit there. You just leave them for the wolves. Go to the next guy, you know? I love it. All right, heavy attack. Fix an issue where you could remain in stealth or invisibility after landing a dual... Wait, did I get to... Oh, I'm dual wield. Okay. Wow. We're on the dual wield. Hang on, give me 1 second, Strim. I need to use the restroom. Very short. BRB. Alright, I'm back. Too many changes. I know. We're gonna get through it, guys. Don't worry. Dual wield, Blade Cloak. Here we go. Jumping right onto it. Blade Cloak. This ability has shifted into an AoE dot category rather than focusing on being a buff first. Oh boy. Decrease the duration to 8 from 15. Reduce the cost, thankfully, to 3k from 35. Still pretty decently costly. Decrease the damage per tick by about 5%, but increase the frequency to 2 from 3. Okay. It's more damage overall. Quick Cloak. On top of granting Major Expedition for 4, this now also extends duration to 10 from 8, which ranks up to 12. Okay. Deadly Cloak. This morph no longer deals increased damage per tick, but instead deals damage every second. So that makes it more of a damage function. Does it still have major evasion? I'm assuming it does. But didn't the evasion last the entire time? So what happens to that? It's still 15, or I guess it's 8 seconds. But what happens on the Quick Cloak morph? Does anybody know? Vanek, I'm just continuing from yesterday. 12-second expedition and major evasion AoE dot. No, not 12-second expedition. On top of granting major expedition for 4 seconds. I assume nothing changed. Same here. So probably still does evasion. They do still contain major evasion, both morphs. Okay. Alright. Deadly Cloak, more of a damage thing then. Every 1 second tick. Not bad. I think it's interesting about Deadly Cloak as a back bar weapon when Deadly Cloak procs, or Quick Cloak, either of them, but having them on a 2 second and potentially a 1 second with the one morph, those proc your weapons enchants and stuff. On the even if you're say you have dual wield back bar, you switch back over to two-handed. You're in the fight. You're fighting with your two-hander. You're rotating combos, but your Deadly Cloak is ticking. It should proc the enchants on the back bar still. Yeah. So. Or poison or whatever. So it's got some more use case there and an increased time. That's an impact of that change to consider. It can allow it to be better used maybe as a back bar option. So, which a lot of dual wield might be falling to with two-hander becoming the real slugger out there, baby. Blade Cloak, interesting. The question is, why would you play it instead of two-handed and shield? Well, for maybe the reasons I just listed, right? But we'll see. We'll see. There'll be different ways to set up some of your bars here. There might be some buffs you can start to cut out, some things you can start to add. Really depends on your class, too. But we'll see, dude. All right. Heavy Attack. Fix an issue where you could remain in stealth and invisibility, land the dual wield heavy attack. Okay. Hidden Blade. Rework this ability from range spammable into a utility skill. Increase the cost to 3,700 from 2,970. Reduce the range to 22 from 28. Reduce the damage dealt by about a quarter. These abilities will now interrupt the target if they were casting an attack. What world is there people channeling attacks on the battlefield? There's like 2 skills in the game to channel, dude. Like Dark Deal, Fragments, Psijic skill. This ability no longer applies Major Brutality. Instead, enemies hit are marked with light or heavy attack. Instead, enemies hit are marked. Step 1. And light or heavy attacking a marked target while dual wielding will grant you brutality for 30 seconds. What? Shroud of Daggers Morph. This ability no longer deals increased damage per bounce, but can interrupt any target hit. This ability now only marks the initial target instead of an enemy hit with the bounce. Each hit deals are AoE standard. What the fuck are they doing with this skill, dude? Am I confused? You want me to throw a ranged 22-meter dagger and then go melee attack them to get buffed? And this is
Son of a bitch.
this is the new utility skill? What kind of fucking utility is that, man? I don't understand it really, because it's a range thing, but it even specifically says you have to hit them with a dual wield, light or heavy. So you can't even like throw a dagger or switch to bow and get a buff. I don't understand. Too many steps. It's not that it's too many steps. It's weird. There's other ways to get major brutality that don't involve throwing a dagger from 20 meters and then running in and hitting the guy with a light attack. That's kind of nuts, because you can't always do that. So you took a range option from Stam in PvE. I think bow's the better range option anyway, Food Farmer. Unless you just wanted to flip that on your bar, I get it, but bow's the way to go. There's some seriously strong bow builds right now for PvE. Outcast's been using them a lot. Nobody used that skill. A lot of people didn't, but that doesn't mean it was bad, because it wasn't entirely bad. It actually had pretty damn good damage scaling on Shrouded. The bounces hit really hard. It no longer deals increased damage per bounce, but you can interrupt targets now instead. Like, the use case is just you're not wrong that it was it was one of the least used skills in some of these weapon lines, and I don't see anybody wanting to use that. So I think maybe this deserves to be revisited. I don't mind it being a utility skill, but if you're telling me the utility is to get a buff that most everybody knows how to get already in another way and hasn't been using this skill to get major brutality, you might want to slip in a different means of either getting that utility or revisit what utility you're giving. This is like a 2-step process to get a buff a lot of us already have. We figured it out already. Read the morph, the other one, Flying Blade. This allows you to reactivate the ability free of cost on a marked target, which causes you to jump to the target and gain brutality. This ability is off the global cooldown as well. It's like a chain. This morph allows you to reactivate the ability for free of cost on a marked target, which causes you to jump to them and gain it. Which means this part of the base skill doesn't even apply anymore. This is really weird. I mean, this one has use. It's basically saying, okay, even people carrying 2 daggers have a gap closer now. It's kind of weird. And it's a means of brutality. It just doesn't make sense. I just don't understand. If you're going to rework a skill, this ain't it. But, maybe it is. What's up, Jelly? Welcome in. Alright. I use Flying Blade. Just hit people running from me and snare them. Oh, no, it's a great skill. That's what I'm saying. It's not bad. This rework's actually kind of weird. Does it retain its slow capabilities, actually? They also reduce the damage. Like, they reduce the... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this one. And they increase the cost. What's going on here? They increase the cost, reduce the range, reduce the damage, and added on some weird conditionals. No, this ain't it. That's not the one. Let's move to the next one, dudes. Alright. Savage Daggers interrupt is more for these ball groups spamming meditate. There aren't ball groups spamming meditate. You can't move when you spam meditate. I wish that were the case. I wish healing was like, for example, you see a lot of healing going on, or purging. I wish there was a cast time, so we had things like this. I think that would be really cool. To be like, oh, they're healing, throw those daggers at them. No, they're not even meditating. It's like, quick, they're not moving, they're meditating, throw daggers at them to interrupt them. If they're standing still, people are just going to bomb them or siege them. It's really weird. It's a weird change. This will be on YouTube, yeah. Free CC from interrupt. It is Skander. Good luck finding 3 people you can interrupt. Here we go. Let's move on. Lacerate. By all means, use it. By all means, go get him, brother. Lacerate. Increase the size of this ability and the Ren morph to 8x8 from 8x7. Cool. Fix an issue where the heal from all the abilities would critically strike. Oh, really? Alright, Thrive in Chaos. Reduce the base damage done bonus per target to 3 from 5. That's a shame. This was kind of like a hidden gem no one ever used. I've thought of use cases. One of them was when I was Emp, but I think it capped at 30%, and this means it would cap at 30 would be times 6, so 24% it would cap at now. You can only hit 6 targets. Smurf no longer increases in damage by 1.1 per rank of the dot, but instead increases the damage done per bonus target by 1%. Smurf also converts the attack into a conal attack, which covers a much larger area. Okay. Well, I don't feel like they buffed anything here, so. Six by... Yeah, 6 is the max targets, right? So, yeah, 18. Yeah, that would be the max. 18%, right? I don't know what they were trying to address in this change. Except make it something that we can hit people more with, which, okay. Alright. Well, there's a means of healing if you want one for a period of time. It does do that. It maxes up to... Wait, it increases the bonus by 1% per rank. So the morph no longer increases in damage by 1.1% per rank, but instead it increases the damage done. That's what the... I'd have to look at that then in game. One of the morphs, yeah, it was increasing its I don't know, that's still here. So it still does this. This is just 3 instead of 5. And this is just the scaling on this. So those are 2 separate things. So, I mean, I guess they made it easier to target things. It was really hard to target. It was like it was like firing the DK fire breath skill. You know, it was very hard to use on the move. But if you had a bunch of people, you know, already lined up, standing still, you know, it could land there. It was very good. Its damage is, you know, light ticks over time. It's more of a means of survival in PvP than damage. So that's what it is. I mean, but it can amp damage with the percent increase. But yeah. Anyway, let's keep moving. Twin blade and blunt. The axe bleed from this passive now ticks every second instead of every 2. Increase the total damage by approximately 24%. Okay. Same thing as a two-handed. Twin slashes increase the damage over time from this ability and its morphs by approximately 37%. So they move that one back up too. So they really want, it seems like they do want the bleeds to do the job out there. And okay. Like they're not trying to murder bleeds at all. But okay, bow. Poison arrow. Increase the cost to 2,700 from 2,430. Increase the initial hit approximately 70%. Increase the dot by approximately 78% per tick. Wow. Venom Arrow. This ability now ranks up in cost reduction rather than 1.1% damage. Okay. And Poison reduces the total execute multiplier morph to 100 from 260. Okay, so Poison Injection won't be as fierce when at other. It's funny. This is one that actually was an interrupt skill, and a lot of people didn't use it because it was just an interrupt skill. And instead they put interrupt skills on other stuff that were already had limited use. If there were more things to interrupt, I'm sure we would use them. I feel like they're buffing bleeds too much, the scaling of resistances now, or am I wrong? We're going to have to test that out, Pooh Man. They reworked how their damage applies, and they have to be resisted now. You know, they said they bounced them out, but it's, you know, it's something that'll have to be tested, dude. Plus, they're also changed the bleeds to tick every 1 second, which is very big. Where are we on the slide bar? Right here. Bit more than half. Rapid Fire. Increase the channel damage disability and Toxic Barrage Morph by approximately 11% and reduce channel time to 4 seconds from 4.1. Remove the delay and reduce the damage on Toxic of the dot by approximately 6% so it properly deals the damage of the channeled. Ballista, reduce the duration of the turret to 5 seconds from 5.5 and fix an issue where it was double dipping in rank progression. This will result in minor damage decrease. Okay. Scattershot's ability will nothing big there on the rapid fire one. You know, some damage adjustment, really, is it? Who used the 4-second channel? Half of the Dominion. Scattershot. This ability is now part of the utility category. With the below changes affect all 3 versions of the ability. Increase the cost to 37 from 29. Reduce the damage by about 10. Reduce the range as well to 22 again. Increase the knockback to 8 from 5. Oh, they increased the knockback. I like that. Are we gonna get fall damage? Do we get fall damage with that? Gilliam, I'd like an order of maximum fall damage on all skills that can potentially push someone off a ledge. Let's do it, brother. Let's watch them fall off the edge and burn. Magnum Shot Morph. This morph no longer knocks the caster back. Instead, it deals 20% more damage than the other morph and reduces the cost. Okay, so it's the affordable one. Draining Shot. This is the heal from this ability will now trigger upon dealing damage rather than when the target is knocked back. Also, decrease the heal by about 20%. Still a great skill. This is a really good skill. And I like that they move the knockback even more. Though that could have some issues for some people if they are weaving this with melee. This is a pretty cool shit. However, bear in mind they increase the cost significantly. They reduce the damage. And they reduce the range. That's interesting. Since they made bleeds mitigated by resistances and buff their damage, doesn't that mean it'll be a huge buff for PvE? I would think, yeah. Yeah. Alright, keep moving. Snipe. Increase the damage by about 9% for this ability. Great. Seems good. Nothing else. That's it. Boom, 9%. Alright, Volley. This ability is more now deal damage every second rather than every half second. And increase the damage per tick by about 11%, so result in overall damage loss. Reduce the base cost to 2,800 from 35. The range on all the morphs are now 28 meters. Barrage just no longer extends the duration, but increase the damage. Endless Hail is no longer grants cost reduction, but now lasts 9 seconds and ranks to 12. So this will still be your VMA bow option. However, that's interesting. I wonder how this works with VMA bow comparatively with this one now. That would be an interesting test. I'm sure it's been done, otherwise these morphs would not be reworked this way. but I'd be interested to see. VMA only works per tick, and the ticks have been cut in half now. Half as many ticks for it to increase and proc, so to speak. The VMA bow got buffed. Okay, fair enough. I'll just keep reading the patch notes. Okay. Destruction staff. I'll leave a test like this. I'm sure Outcast will have something on this. Like, this shit's right up their alley. They're PvE champions. He's gonna have some graph, and he's gonna be like, we're going to have 3.2% more DPS with the bow. Master bow better. I don't know. I didn't get to that yet. Apparently, thoughts on the dual back bar and PvE with these changes? I don't know yet. We'll see. It's very hard to pass on bow as your back bar. It's been nearly impossible for a long time. That might be what they're trying to break, because I imagine Destro staff may have got some similar treatment. Let's check it out. Okay. So depressive patch note. No music at all. I don't do music when I do the patch notes. We stay fully focused, baby. Okay, so he has 12 PvE builds for this patch ready. Son of a bitch. Outcast lives in the future. Alright? Unbelievable. Here I am just reading this shit like it's just happening. Just destruction staff. Destructive touch. Redesign this ability. It's morphed to function as a dot rather than a utility skill. Reduce the cost to 2,700 from 4K. Reduce the initial hit by about 17%, but increase the dot by approximately 167% per tick. This ability no longer grants additional bonus depending on the staff you're using. As it now gains 1.1 damage in rank. Entire ability reduce the range to 15 from 17. The reach morph. This morph retains unique functionality for each element. Staff type you choose, but no longer deals damage over time. Flame Clench knocks the target back and stuns them for the duration. Frost Clench immobilizing and shock converting an attack to an AoE explosion, and deals our AoE damage standard. I like that phrase. The AoE damage standard. Destructive Reach. This morph increases the range to 28 meters and reduces the cost to 2430. Okay, so it's more of a utility CCing skill for whatever you want to do there. All right. Returning, I'm sorry, I can't do advice right now. We have exclamation point beginner if you want to see some guides and stuff. I'm just doing the patch notes right now, so I'm not really like fielding any questions outside of this, because I will just get lost otherwise. I think that two-handed swords or two-handed axes will be better next patch. They're different. Your swords and maces are more upfront burst. Your axes are more of like a main bar weapon if you have a lot of iterations of damage to apply bleeds. I generally recommend them if you're not going for a build that focuses on punching a serious upfront amount of damage to insta-kill people. If you're not looking to insta-kill people, and sometimes even if you are, you still run that shit and put an axe on. I'll be looking at axe. I generally like axe. Unless I'm making a build that's like all or nothing up front to just pump out the percent damage, I generally like to go axe. Sound of bleeds, they'll be good. They're going to be ticking every 1 second. They're still going to do damage. I like it. I'm going to be looking to use them probably. Alright, let me keep reading. Pulsar. Did I skip one? I did. Force Shock. Here we go. This is the weave. Increase the damage disability and smorsh by about 11%. Increased? Increase the chance to apply an elemental status effect to 10% per hit from 3. Since each hit is a direct damage attack. Crushing Shock. The ability no longer ranks up in damage, instead decreases in cost. Force Pulse. No longer ranks up in damage at the initial hit, but instead ranks up in the cleave damage it deals. Also increase the damage of the cleave attack by about 172%. Did they just straight buff Force Shock? Like just flat buff and different means? Why? Is Force Shock not good? Felt pretty damn good out there. Can I... You want me to convince them to change 7th? Why? What is cleave damage? Like splash, right? You want to keep it the same. Why do you want to keep 7th the same? It doesn't need to be. It's not a big deal. It really isn't. Yeah, 7th is actually still a good set. The change. We went through that one last night. The Siam staff going to be insane. I don't understand. No one's giving me. I was looking for some kind of something in chat. All right, Force Shock seems to be good. Seems good. Was good. Seems gooder. Let's do it, dudes. All right, Pulsar. This is the AOE. Reduce the duration of the minor mangle to 7 from 30, which ranks up to 10. This morph now also increased the chance of applying the elemental type status effect to 15 instead of the base 5. Okay. Buff Pulsar. Hell yeah, brothers. Sorry, chewing. I'm reading. It makes it more on par with Elemental Weapon, which was purely outperforming its primary PV spammable. Elemental Weapon was outperforming it. I didn't think that was the case, but I never sat there and measured it because I never did Magic DPS like that. So that explains that. Thank you. I'm sure that helps explain it. I mostly just saw Nightblades drain in targets anyway. No, Michael, you didn't. Passionates are long. They're very long. That's why we're going to keep moving. All right, so Pulsar got a little bit of a change there. They nerfed the duration of Mangle. Not a big deal, but it increased the chance of applying an elemental type status, which I think,
Coming to get you.
hell yeah, it's a good one. Look at that, Hondi. 21 months, Hondi. Looking good as always. You too, brother. Thank you. Welcome back. Thank you for the resub. Hope you're doing well. All right, Wall of Elements. Increase the duration of its ability and morphs to 8 from 6. Son of a bitch. These abilities will now rank up in damage per rank rather than cost reduction. Decrease the cost to 3k from 35. What are these Wall of Element buffs? Decrease the damage per tick by approximately 33%. I don't care about the damage. Elemental Blockade. Increase the duration of its ability to 9 seconds from 8 seconds. Strengths up to 12. Unstable. This morph no longer... Increase the damage explosion. 94% fixed ensure the final without was me. Okay, I don't care. Okay. All right, it's not directly Wall of Elements. It's sort of elemental stuff, but it applies to Wall of Elements. We need to change that ability to just unbelievably root people with Wall of. It's like this giant fucking field, an ice wall in battlegrounds. One guy has it, that team becomes so dominant if the others don't have it. It's just like, yeah, giant wall here. Did you step in it? You're rooted. Did you hit Purify? You're immediately rooted because the coding's terrible. Like, that happens. I don't know if anyone's ever done that. If you get rooted in a wall of elements, you can do Purify. You're immediately rooted 100% of the time, every time. Can we fix that, please? It's so fucking annoying, dude. It's okay to root people, but it should not be a reliable one. Not without a sacrifice. Hurricane Dicka, 11 months. Welcome back. Good afternoon, sir. I was out of country last week in the Bahamas. Good to be back. Welcome back, Dicka. Thanks for the resub, dude. Hope you had a good time out there. Just don't step in it. You can't. You can't avoid it. All right? It's huge. I think this is one of the most annoying and cheapest routes and means of slowing in the game. The Ice Wall of Elements. Fire and Lightning, I give a shit about it. Even though there's some strong effects and, you know, being able to hit with vulnerability or whatever the fuck. Like, it's the roots that comes at a heavy cost. Please revisit. And you know what they did here?
Bitch.
It's already big. It's already this giant thing. Made it cheaper to spam. Alright? Also increase the duration. I mean, it's just going to be that much more annoying. It will be put on, if it's not changed, it'll be put in more builds. It'll be made more baseline throughout the game, and you will end up nerfing it in the future. And when I get to read those patch notes, I'm going to say, you son of a bitch. At the very least, I will say something. I don't know what I'm going to say. I'll think of something clever. What's going to happen? Ice Wall is great for minor maim. It is. It's also great for rooting and slowing. It does a lot. It needs to be looked at. I don't think it's right. There should be roots in the game, and I feel the other ones are way devalued by the ability to have something like this that is so multi-purpose and has only been made cheaper, and it's fucking huge. It's doing too much for too little. Change my mind. Okay. Your Nord has 99 problems. Ice Wall ain't one. Okay. There's Vixby. He says it's OP. He spams it every day on his... He's on a goddamn Magicka DK, and he's spamming those Ice Walls. And it's good. It's smart. It's better than doing your fucking root, because it stays there the whole time. It also throws in some damage. It does way too much. It does way too much. And here's the thing. This is not a joke, and it's probably the biggest bug of the skill. If you get rooted by the ice proc chance to root you, and you purify it, you are 100% immediately rooted. Basically what's happening in the coding is it's saying, like, this ice wall has procced a root on you. And whether or not the only way you can get it off you is to roll out of it and have immunity, one or the other. And rolling out of it creates immunity. But if you do not have immunity and you purge it off, it immediately happens again. Because some condition has been checked, some condition that was procced on you to say it's going to keep rooting you. There's no way out of this without a roll. It's broken. Okay? I will take my time on certain things. That's one of the most annoying things out there. Talon's and Eruption are more expensive and weaker. There you go. I know. Like, it doesn't respect the rest of the roots in the game when you have something so effective. That's the point. I've never seen anyone using the BGs on Cyrodiil and EU. Well, it's because it's down right now, all right? But don't worry. Next year, 2020, when the EU BG server comes back online, you're going to see those ice walls, baby. You better believe it. Okay, let's move on. Resto staff. Here we go. Blessing of Protection, a.k.a. Combat Prayer. Blessing of Protection, Combat Prayer. Reduce the cost of this ability and its morphs to 35 from 37. Increase the healing of these abilities by approximately 10%. Ooh, that's a buff. More of a spammable. Dare I say AoE standard? Increase the healing from Blessing of Restoration by approximately 3% since it was missing the rank up progression of the previous morph. This ability now lasts 16 seconds instead of 15. I'm assuming it still just applies its general armor buff, right? Combat Prayer. This ability no longer ranks up by 1% efficiency, but instead reduces the cost as it ranks up. This ability's Minor Berserk will no longer hit pets since they already gained their owner's Minor Berserk. Still does Minor Berserk. Still does Berserk. Slightly cheaper. Heals a little more. But it no longer ranks up with healing efficiency. But the 10% on the base seems to be better. So buff, buff, buff. Okay. I guess they should add 2-second immunity after purging the root to fix the trash you described. Something like that. It just needs to be revisited and looked at, yeah. And that's why I spend a little time pointing it out. It's a very annoying mechanic, and it's going to... it's devaluing all the other root slow mechanics in the game by having one that's overperforming. That's all. It's worth pointing things like that out so they can get fixed, addressed, and we can move forward. Force Siphon. This ability and its morphs no longer have a cast time or cost since they are purely debuff skills, such as weakness to elements. The duration of this ability now begins at 18 seconds, which ranks up to 24. Both morphs will rank up to 30. Fix an issue where the abilities would aggro your target. Since there is no cast time, this ability gains a new morph effect. Triggering the minor lifesteal debuff will also grant and activate Minor Expedition for 4 seconds. How's that work? Triggering the minor lifesteal debuff grants only the activator Expedition. Very limited use. What kind of support / healer wants to get Minor Expedition for 4 seconds? Only once? When it's triggered initially? This is like, it's not even really worth considering because the person that's receiving it doesn't really matter. So I'm not even gonna spend time on it. It doesn't even matter. Grand Healing converted this ability to a true AoE heal over time rather than a hybrid spammable hybrid hot. A hybrid spammable hybrid hot? Get me one of them hybrid spammable hybrid hots going in here, baby. Double hybrid. Increase the duration from 3 seconds to 8 seconds, but you may only have one active at a time. Reduce the healing per tick by approximately 44%. Reduce the cost to 28 from 35. This ability now grants 30 magic every time it heals an ally, rather than restoring 330 for up to 3 allies healed. This will result in a higher return if you hit all 6 targets for the full duration, but will require more coordination to obtain. Lustrous Healing. This ability continues to increase the duration. New duration is 9, which ranks up to 12. This is one of the things people are angry about, huh? Fuck the ability. Resto nerfed. So it's an AoE heal that you can only place in one place at a time. And they reduce the healing per tick. If you can only place one at a time, why would they reduce the healing per tick? They did reduce the cost. I think what would be better is to maybe increase the healing per tick, maybe even make it last not as long, but only be placed in one place. There's not as much value for certain things if they're not healing for a lot. You're gonna wipe it off your skill bar at a point. I'm not saying that this one automatically gets wiped off the skill bar. It's still very good, but why not like? This is weird. You want to make that AoE heal good, but you can't make it too strong where it ticks too strong. I get it. Is there a developer comment on this one? No? Let's see what chat has to say. A whole 30 magic, wow. Yeah. I have my thoughts on this. Why not just leave F alone? Well, that's why I was wondering what the developer note is. I'd be interested to know why it's done. Sick beat. Grand Healing's fine.
You son of a bitch.
Serve performance me thinks. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure if that's what it's for, but if it's for that, I'm all for it. 100%. I 100% would like to see server performance increased, personally. Somebody that's lagging out of their mind every weekend night, you know? I agree with you, says Tyken. Tyken, I was just reading your thing. Here's the thing. By itself, it's not a big issue. I'll end up repeating some things a lot of you guys have heard, but we'll do it anyway to hammer these points home. Overall, though, if we take the skill without performance in mind, in isolation, and look at it, like what really happens with this skill, like is kind of what they're saying here. You get multiple people pounding these things over and over. They have like 3 of them going at a time per healer. So if you have 4 different healers spamming 3 different healing springs, you now have 12 healing springs in an area, which is 12 different heals that are AoE healing per second. Okay. Each of those have to go through and find every target inside that AoE, pull them in, do a sort, and say which of these guys are lowest. And prioritize healing. Because there's even caps on them too. This is a lot of work for the server. It's a lot of work. With that in mind, trying to address issues like that are stressing the server are the best thing we can do. Are the best thing we can hope for, because we're not doing shit. Devs are. The best thing we can hope for is they fix server performance, not through upgrading infrastructure. Because I'm telling you guys right now, those upgrades, it's a fucking pipe dream. All right? Ain't happening. And if it is happening, great. Probably won't impact anything. That's the reality. What will impact things is restructuring some things in the game, how it works, how players behave, how many inputs are going in. Because, yeah, when there's 60 people stacked up and everyone's firing off heals everywhere and the server's trying to figure out who's getting the next heal every 0.111 sec, like, it's just insane. The server fucking breaks every time. Every time. So, if it's hitting that point, seems good. I'm happy with that. But who does this really impact? Probably more PvE than PvP. The people that are infected in PvP are the ball groups. Ball groups are the ones that use this to its best use. In PvE, this is a heavy hit, sure. In PvE, this was heavy overhealing. But let's be real. Healing springs and orbs is over 50% of the healing in PvE. 50% of your healing in PvE is overhealing from a healing over time that you just systematically dropped on the ground. Which means, we could write a bot to do 50% of your job. So, not bad. Maybe to...
You son of a bitch.
Kinda... Yeah, fractals, I bet, dude. I bet. Fangers should probably even nerf stam class to get better performance. Absolutely. There's no class or skill or mechanic that should be spared to increase performance. If performance is increased and made better, like quality of life is better across the board, specifically for PvP players. But hey, even when we try to do PvP events or something or certain events for PvE, the server can lag out there too. Everybody has felt the impact on every platform and region. If we can address certain things that make a significant impact, we should be for it. Will there have to be adjustments? Sure. Yeah. But of all things to complain about, it's not even saying like I don't have a means of healing, because means of healing still do exist. These are means of overhealing for the most part. That's what they were. Bear in mind they were overhealing, and understand how that constrained the server to have overhealing. Whether that's their point in doing this, I don't know. I've been talking about this for a while now. The amount of huge amounts of AoE overhealing going on the server is absolutely ludicrous. They remove orcs, that will help server lag big time. It will not. That will decrease server performance. Confirmed. Tested. Alright. Without orcs, who would clear all the Dominion Zergs? Alright. Easy. Next one. These changes fuck healers for PvE. It's no joke. Yeah? And I've heard that. I talked to Outcast briefly about it. He says no problem to adjust, I think. But we'll see type thing. Springs and orbs make up most of the healing. That's over half of it. And that's overhealing. Again, it's overhealing. So, I mean, that's still what's going to do it. It's like you have all these layers of healing on the ground. So the moment you take damage, you're already healed. You're already healed before you knew you took the damage because the healing's there, it's ready to go, and it's ticking. It's not bad to have a means of overhealing, but when you layer so many of those, yeah, that strains shit out, Try doing VHOF. Well, here's the thing, dudes. Here's the thing. Like, I'm not arguing. I'm not saying you can do the dungeon. Get good. I'm not saying anything like that. Maybe you can't do a single dungeon. I doubt it. But let's stop for a second before you freak out about the dungeon. Can we increase server performance by doing something like this? If yes, why not go forward with it? Is PvE content able to be adjusted to compensate for skill changes? 100%. It's actually the easiest thing to change because it's a controlled environment. I already said this. It's a controlled environment. If you're taking too much damage and we can't spam healing springs and there's no reasonable means of doing it, then they would decrease the general damage that came in. That's what they should do. That is what you would do. But there'd be no other way to strike at fixing things if we're just like, can't touch healing. Break server, don't care. Can't do VHOF, don't care. Break server, need to do VHOF. We can't do that. It doesn't make sense. We can't break the game so you can do VHOF. We can change VHOF. That's what I'm saying here. It's if that's what it takes, then fuck yeah, do it. Or do you want more endless lag? Is that what we want? these poor PV people. I'm not saying fuck them or something, and I'm making a point here. I'm actually trying to understand why is that bad. Problem is they're not thinking about some things. I was directing at you, and I meant in general. I'm not sure what you mean. No logic allowed here. Only VHOF. Okay. Okay. I want to, and I'm not. I won't get mad at people. I'm happy to, and that's what I'm here to do, is to talk about some of these things, and so we can all better understand maybe what's happening here. Why not make the change specific to PvP area? Because it strains out in PvE too. People on consoles lagged out in certain trials. There's certain trials they lagged out on. Like just 12-man content lagged the consoles. Okay? We're talking server performance here. If we are throwing a boatload of shit at the server and we are killing it, why not figure out a different way to approach healing? To be like, sorry, the only way to heal in this game is overhealing, with mass AoE stacked on each other. The moment you take damage, in that next second, there will be 15 different heals that hit you per second. So you're good, bro. Took damage, no problem. Full HP immediately. Is that good? No, it's just what you're used to, actually. That's all. Like, so much of healing in PV is just not reactive at all. It's not reactive. I don't do a lot of PV, but I've watched it and I've seen it. Like, I've done every trial on vet and everything. I've done half of them on hard mode. And everything is like stack and heal. I'm going to tell you right now, it's some of the easiest PvE healing I've ever seen in my life in any MMO. Much of it is not reacting. You're not even targeting half the time. You're just firing shit in areas. And people stand in a spot to avoid the red circle. Like, I don't want to sit here and bust on it and all that. But, I mean, if they need different tools to get the job done, they either add the tools and they're not as strainful. They're not as straining to the server, or we restructure the trial. So the damage intake is, not unreasonable for the healing that's there. It's easy. Keeping healer power in check is important to the health of the game. I agree with these changes. I don't disagree with anything here. What you're striking at is overhealing. Striking at overhealing not only helps performance, but it stops bullshit mechanics. Where I go up and here's how it affects PvP. You ready? I go up and hit a guy. He's got 25k health. I dawn break him for 16k. I'm looking to close the kill. By the time I can even get a light attack in or perhaps an execute, he has been healed 6 different times from 6 different people that had heal over times on the ground. And he is already at full health as my light attack's coming out immediately after a dawn breaker. That's what overhealing is. That's what happens with ball groups. If you don't kill the ball group in one fell swoop immediately, you have no point showing up to the fight because you can't do anything. Overhealing affects both PvP and PvE. It creates a lot of stress on the server as well. Can we move on from the healing thing? It's actually a big issue that a lot of people have had. It seems to be one of the biggest issues in this patch. So I'm happy to talk about it, and I want to. Okay? I don't expect to play today. I have a couple hours. 6 healers in a group. Wait, what's this? I don't know. I must have missed it. 6 healer. How do you find 6 people willing to play a healer in a group? Are you telling me that's the new meta? Like, that's what I'm saying. I can't argue with shit like this. I don't know what to do. I just had a conversation about this shit. You're like, oh, I'm gonna need 6 healers now for every trial. They're not gonna make the game where half the fucking group is 6 healers. They won't make the game that way. You do understand that, right? You will be able to do this. You will be able to tune into Outcast doing this shit on the PTS without 6 healers. You do know that's gonna happen, right? You do know. Please tell me you understand that. And that sitting here and making gross exaggerations does not do anything productive. It doesn't do a fucking thing, dude. Like, please, make a solid point and let's discuss it. But don't just throw out gross exaggerations. People are fucking tired of it, man. It's not doing shit. No one's gonna take you serious if you do dumb shit. Boxster, thank you for 11 months. Welcome back. Frosty's here. So I'm personally a PV healer. The Healing Springs nerf is a big deal because that is the highest source of heal. It's hard to keep your team up without that. So this is going to suck. You really need to be able to throw down a lot of Healing Springs to keep them up. I 100% agree with what you're... Like, I understand what you're saying. This is probably the most impactful thing. And as I understand, Orbs was also changed. If it's not reasonable, like, that's what they will work at changing, okay? Like, that's why they have the patch notes. That's why Alcaz is going to get on and fucking jump in these trials, and he's going to give a reasonable take on this shit. Fucking thank God there's somebody still that caliber that creates the content and can come in there. Yes, he's at the top level of it too, and there's a lot of people that aren't that high, and that's mainly what we need to be considered about. That middle ground, all the other people, that they can reasonably do this stuff without having 6 people in group. Yes. That will be the goal. If you think they're going to say, sorry guys, new meta is 6 to 8 healers and maybe 3 or 4 DPS unless you're Outcast. No, it won't be that. It's your job to not freak out and throw ridiculous shit out there because it's not helping anything. It doesn't do anything. Ultimately, if this helps stop overhealing and stress the server, this is one of the best fucking changes you could hope for, even if it hits you directly on your playstyle. Okay? Because, like, if you would rather trade having your Healing Spring spam over having better server stability, then we have no ability to really discuss anything further.
You son of a bitch.
There's no point. There should be a fucking designated playpen room for people like that. And we put them all in the same room, and they can all just take each other out until there's one left. So the nerf healing, at least the spring healing, yeah. And I know Orbs has been, but we haven't got to Orbs, but I know that one. As soon as your stream tags, fortune telling, yeah, we're doing fortune telling later in the stream here. As a main healer, this one is livable. It can be worked around. Orbs, that is the issue. I hear you. I hear you. I absolutely hear you. I'm not saying nothing should be changed here either. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying all this is going to stay, should stay, or whatever. But I'm saying trying to strike out at overhealing could be one of the best things for the performance you could imagine. Okay? Let's keep moving, though. Let's keep moving. Let's take it all in, all right? They test it on different server rather than doing things just hoping it helps. You can't create that environment to test that. But I imagine they could look in and see the gross amount of things the server has to intake as far as healing goes. Be like, wow, it's a lot. It's a fucking lot. It's not only that. It's also the impact it has. So whether it's done for PvP, PvE, performance, it would be very nice to know in the notes. I'd be interested to hear more about why they did it. Coordinated PvP groups already plan how to adapt over this. Yeah. And frankly, anybody that was just anything that allows you to run in a ball like this and throw constant heals and survive is really stupid. I gotta tell you, it's really dumb. I do find that. Yo, Tedderbomb, thank you for 6 months. Welcome back to half year. After looking at the subreddit, I was shocked everyone was freaking out. I liked a lot of the changes. I like a lot that's been on here too. I do. In your example, Fingers, earlier, hitting a guy with the Dawnbreaker, you said he would be immediately healed by 6 healers. That guy was just making a joke about good luck finding that many healers. I don't understand. You're saying he was making a joke about it? And I wasn't like reacting at him, but I'm telling people not to freak out about that as much. I already know like people are ready to do it. Vet Trials is going to suck for healers because at Vet Dungeons right now, it's hard to keep the team up because of how hard they hit. Right. I understand that. Okay. How many healers do you take in, Frosty? Oddly, thank you for the host. Okay. Um, I'm going to move forward. Can we move along? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking me to move on. We'll get to it. For trials, we used to have 2 healers. Now no one knows. Now no one knows, and we'll bring 4. But dungeons, you can only have 1. So that's why it sucks. All right, healing any 4-man dungeon in the game is going to be the easiest clap shit you've ever done in your life. You don't need even fucking resto staff for that. I've done that shit with Hell Yeah Brothers in blue gear that I picked off out of my storage crates. Okay? So the 4-man stuff, easy. For trials, you're only bringing 2 of the 12 people as healers. Do you think it might be... I'm not even saying you'll have to increase the number. But don't you think it's kind of crazy? Don't you ever stop for a second and think, this group is 12 people. 2 of them are healers. The other 10 are not healers. They're going to rely on those 2 guys. If you for 1 second ask me to bring 1 more healer and make it 3 healers, you can go fuck yourself. Not in my world. Not where Healing Springs lives. Hell no, brother. 2 healers or bust.
Bitch.
I mean, to say like things can't be adjusted is just insane. It's crazy to me. I can't believe people would freak out like that. I just, I don't get it. Most people forget that we only have 2 healers for trash pools. At boss fights, you normally have 1, and the other healer's DPS. Yeah. All right. Thank you, J-Dub. Thank you, J-Dub, for coming in and bringing a voice of reason, because I don't even know what people run on the serious endgame shit. It's a fucking joke. I can't believe people complain about that. But you know what? That's when I did the Vet Sunspire. I farmed that to farm my new perfected set. And I farmed it, and we had 1 fucking healer through the entire experience. Just Fear Turbo running around, who was also helping DPS a little. So if 1 fucking person can heal it with Healing Springs, no fucking wonder it's getting nerfed, dude. Okay? Come on. Overall, the point of these things is to make changes. Like the fact that we have to even sit here and argue for something that could help dramatically increase performance is insane. It's insane to me. It's the biggest problem of the game is performance. So for people to stop here and say, "Well, my healing's going to be hard," yeah, well, hard for me to deal damage on a Stamsork 3 years ago too. But you know what? I made it. So let's move forward. Regeneration. Here we go. Let's check it out.
You son of a bitch.
Increase the healing per tick by approximately 98% for regeneration, but reduce the duration to 10. It only now hits 1 ally per cast. Increase the cost to 27 from 2100. Rapid regen morph. This now doubles the frequency, but halves the duration. So that's 5 seconds in total. Am I to understand that? Mutagen. Increase the burst heal value of this ability by approximately 93%. They made regen a really strong heal over time there. Only hits 1 per cast. More expensive. Boy, this would be a lot better to run in a BG type small man environment, I'll tell you that. Less efficient to spam over a general heaping Zerg in front of you. You know, that's a lot of healing that's going to provide, especially with someone specting damage. Like, that's a lot of healing. Frosty says, I'm talking about vet trials. If you have newer players from pugs that don't know exactly what to do, it sucks. You got to keep that in mind. A lot of people bring full build groups to get them done quick. Are you telling me we should rebounce the game for people that don't know what's going on? Because I disagree. That's what I'm going to say. Used to be you played an MMO, you met content that was difficult, and you learned. And you fought and fought, and you learned. Okay? Games now have normal modes where you can buy the expansion, hop into Cloud Rest at level 3, and fucking fist a mob to get Reliquin gear, which is the best endgame gear. You can literally go and fist that thing. So no, I'm not going to. I can't see it that way, I'm sorry. Like, there's part of it hopping in a game and playing and moving forward. You know? That's my point of view, man. it's okay to have a casual world and like to have that built in, and that's already here. In fact, ZeniMax has done such a goddamn good job at that. That is why the game has succeeded over the past couple of years. They have done such an excellent job at that. So please, let's keep doing good things, such as increasing the performance. Because if you knock that shit down, you know you have a wonderful game here. If you could really fix performance, it's one of the biggest things that plagues the game. Okay, so let's focus on that. If we need to reshape content or revisit certain skills, we can do that. If they're trying to do stuff that's going to potentially increase performance, I can't praise it enough. I really can't. Game's not fun when you're offline. Okay, it really isn't. Let's move on. Regen that's interesting. It's not this general application hot across everyone, same as like Rally was for every Stam guy. This is going to be a single target, much stronger. This one's pretty interesting. I wonder how strong you can make that. That would only last 5 seconds. That would be like a super juiced Vines from a Warden. Like, that is strong. And then Mutagen still pops and does 93% more. I mean, that's actually a pretty impactful thing. That'd be very interesting. So, that's strong. What's up, Shadow Viper? Welcome in. You're hiding a little bit behind a browser. I am, but I just, like, I'm not hiding anything, really. I like to pull it off to the side. I have multiple monitors. I like having that there. That's all. There's nothing hidden. Don't worry. Okay. Steadfast Ward. Increase the base shield size ability by approximately 14%. What time is it? Okay, we're still doing good on time. Increase the base shield size's ability by approximately 14%, but reduce the bonus scaling to 100% from 300% to better align it with other abilities to reduce polarizing effectiveness it has. The Healing Ward morph, this will no longer heal you after the shield ends, but instead the shield hardly remains to do that. This morph will now heal you once every second for 25% of the remaining shield size instead to ensure you gain effectiveness out of it. Wow. Damn. No easy street shield at 10% into full HP heal anymore. I love this patch. Yeah, I'm liking things from this patch. There's a lot of cool shit going in this patch. Dramatic effects. Some things may not work 100%, but with the amount of things going in there, you certainly can't expect everything to be successful in this patch. But that's okay. There's a lot of good things in here I see that will change things quite significantly. Because nobody's going to get it all right, dudes. None of us would. That is cool. In other games, healers won't heal you. If you play bad and stand in AoE, so you're forced to learn and improve. And that's how people are afraid of. I don't know how to say, Fingers. Yeah, no, I know. It's what I'm saying is we can't bounce around that. We can't be like, well, I have a really bad experience in trials because all the guys I'm in there are, you know, either blind or, you know, they're using a trackball with their foot. And as a result, we need healing springs to keep these guys going. Like, we can't bounce around that. It just doesn't make sense. You know? Like, that, if that's what's happening, they have to die so they get better. We can't keep a heal at a certain place because of that. It just doesn't make sense, man. Who asked for this rework, though? Which rework? What do you mean? A rework to shields and stuff? Probably the people that are trying to kill Sorks. And how many times have I pulled off Sorks and BGs at 10% health? I see a rest ult pop. I'm like, peace out, dude. Not worth the time anymore. Probably some of the people that may have done it. They're the main use case for shields. Now I use this on some other healers, like I was using it on my Necro healer. I've used it on my even back bar to my Templar with the BRP Resto is really good now. But and it still is really good. It'll still be good with the BRP Resto, this skill. But some of these shields are insane. Now that the shields took in they took into account mitigation from your armor, shields have been very strong. You're off camera on this. I know I am. The camera sucks. I apologize. That'll be fixed. Don't worry. Give it a month. Armor, light armor, annulment. Reduce the shield size ability and its more by approximately 9%. Okay. Annulment, a little nerf there. Apparently you can't bar swap skills at the moment on PTS. Don't know whether that's a bug or a feature. Well, we'll see. was thinking maybe they change the synergy system altogether, or just help justify some of these changes, like making it usable by everyone. The synergy system? I'm not sure what you mean. It is usable by anybody. I'm not sure what you mean, what condition. Unless you're the caster, it's not usable by. I'd like to see more things like the synergy system. That's something I've also advocated for, that they add a lot more, that they expand and build out the Undaunted skill line. Add in some cool new skills. I think they intend to do that. I think ESO's plan. They brought in some new staff. There was staff changes at ZeniMax, if you don't know, in the last year. They brought people in. They said new plan, and their first plan has been auditing the game of all of its skills, which is something that you're seeing in this patch. That's why this patch is so big. The reason you didn't see this in the Necro patch is because the Necro patch was a big expansion, and they didn't want to roll it all out in one bundle. It's just a terrible business move. So you're seeing really the final pass here, I think, at most of the skill audit. When the skill audit's complete, they'll probably be executing more things that are in line with their vision. But they can also bounce going forward after they've done this whole skill pass of everything in the game. So you're actually seeing a lot of things at work here that weren't there like a year and a half, 2 years ago. They weren't doing any of this shit. Okay. What do you think about the fact that there is no skin? I feel like I don't know. I don't know. We have a lot of skins right now anyway. Like, I'm okay to sit on any cosmetic shit. When I start seeing stuff about performance or enjoyment in PvP, that's what piques my interest. But that's just me. I'm biased towards that, and I understand that some people are going to want the skin and all. I think we get a lot of skins in the game right now. Okay.
You son of a bitch.
Oh, coming back for the other half, baby.
I forgot it.
The mint bar. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Positivity poggers, I know. Let's do it. Let's move on. Light armor. Okay, Nullman. We'll keep trying to move here. Reduce the size of the shield disability and its morphs by about 9%. Okay, that's a slight nerf. Harness magic. This morph no longer returns 3% of your max magic when absorbing spell attacks. Instead, it restores 5% of the ability's cost whenever it absorbs any damage. Okay, note this value continues to increase per... Okay, so they didn't have it do 3% of your max magic, which you could stack and make very good use of with Harness. Rather, they put it towards the cost of the ability, so you can't wildly scale this up with your max magicka. No loophole anymore. Get him, boys. Get him. That really hits him in a CP. Good, I like it. This is a heavy nerf to damage builds. Yeah. Yeah, isn't it crazy? You can just stack everything in damage, put on like one defensive monster set, and everything takes care of itself. And you just do straight fucking damage. Medium armor. Evasion. Oh, medium armor. Dude, we've been waiting for an evasion change for what, a year plus now? I've been telling them, rework this thing. It's a piece of shit. It doesn't do anything. Evasion. Reduce the base cost to 32 from 36. Also add a new function. If you are hit with an AoE attack while it's active, you gain Major Expedition for 2 seconds? Dude, that's interesting. Oh, we're gonna be riding the lightning again, baby. Let's do it. What's the morphs? Elude. Each piece of medium armor now increases the duration of the major evasion by 2 seconds, up from 1. Elude also increases the duration of major expedition, but only by 1. I'll take it, dude. Shuffle morph. Increase the snare and immobilization immediately granted by each piece of medium armor to 1 from 0.5. Fuck yeah, dude. Medium armor actually has something in Shuffle. Never thought I'd see the day. Let's go. Get your orcs ready for war, baby. It's happening. I like it. Listen, this thing sucked ass. Shuffle was dog shit for so long. It cost so much and it did so little. So thank God they put something in here. I know, I can already see it. Medium armor meta, everyone's so sad here in light armor. I get it. Light armor's still fucking good, dude. You guys still get regen. You get cost efficiency. You get 5k pen on it. You know, we get weapon damage scaling, but you do have to invest in that weapon damage. And it is nice, but boy, it ain't 5k pen. You know, 5k pen's super nice. Light armor ain't dead there. Like, that doesn't kill it. Especially as long as things exist in the game that give things like major protection. Now, medium armor can leverage them too. And they shall, and they will continue to do so. But light armor can still be boosted and has such great passives. So I can already see it, though. I can already see where it's going to go. A lot of hate for light. We're still going to be using Magicka for what they are good at in our group play, and we will use Medium for what they're good at. They both share roles. They're both good at different things. Everyone's saying, yeah, Magisaur's going to get fucked. LOL, guys must have not seen the tooltips on the new Rapid Regen. Dude, that thing is going to be like that's going to be serious shit, ZRT. That's what I've been telling people, ZRT. Like, we use Magisaurs because they're the best at what they do. What are we going to do next patch, ZRT? We're going to use Magisaurs because they're the best at what they do. They're fucking good. They have huge damage. They can go in and they can punch shit out, man. Their mobility is insane. Streak even got buffed and stuff. Like, they're still good. Now, when this impacts certain things like 1vxing, okay. But, I mean, at this point, it's hard to be asked to weigh in on that stuff. Especially when half the classes can't 1vx, you know? Not compared to some of the other ones. B. Finster, thank you for the prime. Welcome in, dude. Another one. All the medium armor burst ults have channel time, though, which is a huge buff for light, in my opinion. There's Thogard. Let him know. Thogard, go post that in every forum thread. Go tell him. Go be the voice of reason. We need a bot on that forum that responds to everything. If there's no Eclipse is beyond broken, you can be perma-Eclipse. It forces you to take damage. That's what I'm saying. There was something, like, I looked at the skill reading it. I'm sure Eclipse won't make it. Please burn it. Just burn it down and start over. Just put something else. I hate Eclipse. This bubble that goes around you, and it's so terrible. It's terrible. But yeah, there was nothing attached to it unless you actually went through the motions to get... First, you had to hurt yourself and get slowed. Then you had to hurt yourself, get rooted. Then you'd have to hurt yourself and get stunned. Then you could CC break. But from what the conditions on it read, it could still be reapplied to you immediately after and still slow you again and still root you again. Like, that skill was, like, put in untested. I think it was so early in its design phase. They just threw it out there to see what would stick. Hopefully nothing sticks from it. You know? We'll see. Anyway, let's keep moving. Light armor, medium armor, heavy armor, removable. Rework this ability in some morphs and shifted names around to be slightly more appropriate. The base ability now is called Unstoppable. Reduce the base cost to 37 from 4,600, which gets its 15% cost reduction, taking it to 32. Increase the duration of the CC immunity granted to 6 seconds. So they increase the duration to 6 seconds. While the immunity persists, you now have 65% reduced move speed. You cannot be stopped, but the power comes at a great cost. So you're 3780, call this reduction, 3200, 6 seconds. Immovable Brute renamed its morph to Unstoppable Brute. It no longer passively reduces the cost of CC break while slotted, but instead it reduces the cost of CC break and while Major Ward and Resolve are active. Increase the cost reduction per piece of heavy armor to 5% from 4%. This morph also gains reduction as it ranks up. Unstoppable morph. Rename this morph to Immovable. This morph no longer increases the duration of the ability, but instead the snare persists and increases the amount of damage you can block by 5% per piece of heavy armor worn, but also increases the snare potency by 5%. If all 7 pieces of heavy armor, you'll be truly immovable unless elite difficulty enemies hit you with a special move. You know what I don't like about Immovable is it's one of its, selling points isn't really a selling point. It gives Major Ward and Resolve, but a lot of classes have a Major Ward and Major Resolve. It's either built into their rotation already or it's a separate armor buff that usually carries some other extra bonus to it. And as a result, people might have to give that up, like a Dragon Knight doesn't want to give up their armor buff for the extra healing just to use this. The same way a Stamsork doesn't want to give up, their Lightning form to pick this up and lose that, potential minor expedition. It's strange. I think they should detach this from this skill and give it something more valuable, but this is kind of interesting what they're doing here. I mean, it's to the point where this skill is either so good that a lot of people would use it or it just continues to not be very much used. This is interesting, but I guess for PvE this could really be a thing here, right? Increase the amount of damage you can block by 5%. That seems like it'd be very good for PvE, right? Block tanks, BP resto, regen new insta life, steel dot, yeah. I don't think people realize how bust that shuffle changes. Can't be blown past so easily. What do you mean, noteworthy? I'm not trying to harp on things too long at this point. I'm trying to move forward. Which part of it? That it gives expedition? Or, I imagine you don't mean this. This is quite fair and reasonable, I'd say. especially compared to a lot of the other snare and immobilizations. Are you referring to the Major Expedition portion of it? I'm guessing. 5 seconds. Let's go. Hell yeah, brother. Specifically for Templars, you can't even use your jabs or give Stam class 100% uptime on a Major Expedition. Peepo poo. It applies to... So you're saying for the Expedition, you don't want them to have high uptime? And that's your fear there with it? Is that right? What is the concern there? Looks similar to Race Against Time to me. Yeah, Race Against Time also gives you the offensive portions of, the crit buff there. It's definitely going to be broken to PvP now. This shit's broke right now. It probably is right now. But, we're at the first pass of PTS, so anything you read or see here, please delay your reactions, and feel free to share your opinions maybe on the forums. But, nothing you see is going to stick, but a lot of it will. A lot of this will stay. I don't know. I don't see that change being any good in the long run. Well, I'm asking you why. You're telling me not to blow past it. You started talking about sort curse, which I'm not sure what you mean. And ultimately, you just don't see it being good. Which part of it? Expedition? This comes at a cost to put this on. It's alright, just hit him with an Eclipse. That's right. I'll slow him down. As an evasion, it's more going to be permanent Expedition source, though. Seems a bit much. So, if you're getting hit by AoE attacks every 3 seconds, then yes. So many AoEs in the game. Everyone's going to be zooming around on an orc. For Stam, at least. Right. So you're saying, we'll have to see which ones. For example, like a ground AoE. Would I hit that and immediately be immune to, say, an Ice Wall and I'd fire off with Major Expedition? I don't know. If you mean a actual AoE, like a Tornado or a Cleave or a Pulsar or, whatever it may be, in that case, I don't know. Like what's the issue with that? I think you should be able to go fast. A lot of people are saying that too, and I agree. You're medium armor. You're giving up heavy armor. You're giving up the ability to heal yourself and stuff. Medium didn't have as much as the others. That's why heavy armor is seen so much. Like in CP, it's heavy or light armor. Medium was dumb. I want to go fast. That's right. It did boost your damage, but it outside of group play, it was tough to leverage. So I don't see the issue. But I'm happy to take it on if you have one. I'm gonna keep moving. Looks like we got through heavy armor unstoppable. Not the most dramatic thing. Seems like potential PvE power here. Powerhouse. Dark Reader, thank you for 14 months. God bless. There's many more Fang. Thanks for the entertainment community you provide. Thank you, dude. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for supporting this. Welcome back in. I guess we'll see how it plays out. I'm not much of a fan, though. Yeah, we'll check it out. We'll see. We'll check it out. So link these notes. Do ! PTS to see the notes. World. Here we go. For Soul Magic, Soul Strike. Increase the damage per tick for this ability, and it's morphed by about 22%, but increase the time it takes to deal the damage to 5 seconds from 2.9 to help reduce the bursty nature of this ultimate. Goblin Sama, angry in his grave again. I saw him using this to great effect. Basically, they're spreading this out so you can't burst it because the tooltip values on this can get very high if you're well built. So they made it last longer. Its use will be less. It'll last 5 seconds, but it will slow for 5, right? Increase the revival in this ability some more to 3 from 2. What are we talking? I mean, but yeah, you also get the CC immunity for 5 seconds, but you're going to slow that guy too. Did they change the slow, or is it still super slow? Because this thing really slowed your ass. This thing was a death sentence. Again, if you're in medium armor, you fucking died when this thing hit you. You were done. You know? That changes the stam circ buff. You mean lowering the damage? I mean, it's a buff to anybody that wants to stay alive in medium armor. Right? They increased the damage per tick. They said, hey, each tick will hit a little harder, but they spread the whole thing out. Okay? And
You son of a bitch.
see, but I want to make sure I'm reading it right. But they increased the time it takes to deal its total damage to 5 seconds. So when you see that tooltip value, this thing gets up to like, let's say 120,000 damage. Instead of doing 120,000 damage in 2.9 seconds, they spread it to 120,000 damage in 5 seconds. Okay. So, all right. Chat seems to be in a state of shock at the moment. DPS plummets. Yes. There's somebody that's people. I feel like my chat's just like. All right. Increase the reveal in this ability. It's more 3 seconds from 2 seconds. Increase the base cost to 175 from 100, so it's also nearly double the cost as well. It is not this cheap spammable shotgun as it had become. Trash ability now, it's overall weaker. It was very strong on someone that really knew what they were doing, and that's where, like, I saw Aurelia use this very effectively on a... You would never guess which class. You would never guess which Magicka class. Not very popular. Played to a very... Only by a handful of people have I ever seen play. The Magicka Sork. And, you know, you'd throw up something like Endless Fury, Curse, and then you could, you know, throw out your quick burst and throw this on, while Curse would still hit and Endless Fury would also finish, and this would just smother them down in the execute range and they would explode. And it would cost only a little. Where are you? When I get louder, I disappear. So yeah, that's what that would do. Anyway, Shatter Soul Morph. This morph's explosion no longer requires the target to die in order to occur. No longer requires the target to die in order to occur. Instead, when the channel is completed or ends early, it will detonate, reduce the damage of the explosion by about 37%. Fix an issue where the explosion was not applying reveal effect to targets hit, as the tooltip implied. Okay. I used to do that versus Stand Night plays. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Goblin Slam's a bastard with it. Yeah, he's good, though. Soul Trap. This ability has now been restructured to fit into our single target dot standards. Since this ability and its first ability you have access to, it will dynamically scale with your offensive stats with some extra detection abilities. If your weapon damage is higher, it will deal physical damage, but if your spell damage is higher, it'll deal magic damage. Sorry, I was just reading words, not listening. I heard you say physical damage. Let's start. All right, so what is this? I totally ignore this shit most of the time anyway. Soul Trap, really? This ability has been restructured to fit into our single target dot standards. So this ability is the first ability of access to. It will dynamically scale with your offense. Okay, understood. Increase the damage per tick by approximately 161%. Remove the 2-second delay from these abilities. Fix many visual errors. Consuming Trap. This morph will now restore 20% of your health, magic, and stam up from 10 when a target affected dies. The tooltip's state will actually return to... This is like infinite sustain against AD. This might be a thing. I'm gonna have to check this one out. I mean, if you think about that, when you're getting like 5 kills per second fighting against AD, I mean, that's a lot of resources you could potentially restore. It's going to be a Soul Trap meta? Yeah, on Friday nights it might be. I mean, you might see Soul Traps flying every direction coming in. Okay. My PTS tooltip is 32k versus 1034 on Caltrops replacement for PvE. What, for this skill? Soul Trap? Is that what we're talking about? You have a 45k tooltip on this. Wow. There's a set that 100% increases the damage on that skill. Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, wow. I know what you're talking about. Ooh, a little Gilliam oversight, maybe. Did they do some wild vampire stuff? There's that vampire set, although that's not a percent-based increase. I think it's a 450 damage increase. There's one that increases this a lot, yeah. How late am I? Just a little bit. Just a couple hours. Trap gives crit damage where? What? Who? What? Soul Trap. Oh, you're saying Soul Trap will replace Rearming Trap. Oh no, they're different skills. But if you mean for PvE, for DPS, I could see that, but yeah, then they need a means of minor force, which, okay. Alright, I'm not going. Moving on, Vampire, Bat Swarm, reduce the cause of this ultimate to 250 from 275, increase the duration of this ability and its morphs to 7 from 5. So that's pretty big. 2 more seconds on the Bat Swarm. Increase the damage dealt to the damage over time by about 20% per tick. Double buff. Made it longer, more damage per tick. What else? Increase the base cost of this ultimate to 250 from 200. Okay, the heal from this ability will be brought in the standards to result in no real set percent change in power due to the previous version having several issues with scaling. The weapon damage scaling of this ability was approximately 800% weaker than the spell damage scaling, while the stamina scaling was 1500% weaker than the magicka scaling. The heal will now scale for half the damage's base coefficient. Note this does not mean the heal is tethered to half of the damage dealt. So it actually can scale properly with stam. Okay. Clouding Swarm. This is the one that was reworked at a point. Increase the cost of this to 250 from 200. Reduce the damage of the Clouding Storms activate materialize by approximately 6% per hit. Clouding Storm's damage over time no longer breaks up in damage since Materialize already did. Note that due to the increase in duration of the base ability, Materialize will also be can activated 2 additional times because of the 2 extra seconds. I'd be interested to see how that works. If you guys don't know what Clouding Swarm is, it'd basically still do the AoE, but it would not drain target's health. It would just do AoE damage, but you could spam the ultimate again for a cost-free extra damage, which you could basically get 2 more of. In non-CP, that's considerable because things actually cost resources in non-CP, and your resources matter. So, nerf the morph that no one uses. Good job, Zoss. Well, maybe, hey, maybe you should try it. Maybe you should try it. If you have good healing, good defense, it's easy to spam that thing. It's very high damage, actually. So, check it out. Notes off top of the synth playlist and shit when cruising on the highway late at night. Hell yeah, Irish bloke, that's what it's there for. Get in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, you can't get the playlist. Get it together, team. Drain Essence. Remove the 1-second delay on this ability and its morphs before it deals damage. Good. It didn't do anything the first one, but it could be stunned. The channel can no longer be dodged. Good. Reduce the damage per tick by 11%, but the additional tick now results in an increase of damage by about 89%. Alright, so they actually made it remotely decent damage, which is still not great. This ability and its morphs now heal up to 15% of your missing health per tick, down from 20, to retain 60% of your missing health over 3. Okay, Accelerating Drain. It's the one that gave you Minor Expedition. Increase the frequency of damage and healing this ability deals, resulting in 1 extra tick of damage and healing. Okay. Not much change there. Misform. Reduce the base cost of the ability and its morphs by 251 from 59. Everything is 2 and then from. Reduce the base cost of the ability and its morphs to this from that. Okay. So they reduced it. This ability now lasts 4 seconds at base. The ability now ranks up in its cost reduction, reducing the base cost to 48. Fix an issue where the expedition from this would persist even after casting the channel effect. Did they take off? I swear they watched the stream, dude. They just watched the stream and nerf from the stream. Did they remove the animation cancel I do on this shit? Son of a bitch, man. How much of this patch do you think is going to go into live? Majority. Bold majority of it. 90%. You mentioned on your Friday stream. Alright, it's whatever. Baleful Mist. Morph. This ability no longer ranks up in cost reduction, but instead gains... This version is so bad. This is one of the worst morph skills in the game. Increase the frequency of damage to 0.5 from 1, but increase the damage of the dot by... Doesn't the dot do like 5 damage? It's so bad. Right? I might be miscalculating, but I'm pretty sure the damage on this is like one of the worst things in the game you could possibly imagine. You know? But anyway, I'll keep moving. It doesn't really matter. I mean, people use this skill for damage mitigation here. They don't use it as a means of dodging damage while returning fire, which is kind of what it's meant to do, I guess. All right, Werewolf. Many Werewolf skills have been adjusted in terms of damage, cost, healing to ensure that they meet the intended goal of Werewolf experience. What is the intended goal of the Werewolf experience? A fast-paced threat that is terrifying foe on the battlefield. Activating Werewolf abilities should feel distinct in nature and other abilities in terms of their consequences. They should feel more powerful but more costly. With the ongoing ability standard on it, we've taken Werewolf and set their abilities to be 25% more per cast, meaning compared to another similar ability category, the Werewolf version should be 25% more damage but cost 25% more. Note this value is subject to change. We're also aware that some of the Werewolf abilities feel bare in nature, such as Pounce, and are currently investigating some additional variation to help to spice up their combat approach. Okay, so you want to make them spicy champions on the battlefield. Seems good. Let's see what they are. Hircine's Bounty. Increase the cost of the ability in S'mores by 25%. This was the roar, right? Reduce the healing to 35.5 of your max health from 45. Not a huge hit, which is 25% stronger than the standard 30%. This thing heals a lot, and the one morph is incredible. Let's see what they did with the morph. Increase the duration of the brutality to 30 from 20 at its final rank. Okay. Not as relevant. Usually redundant. If you use yellow pots, this is redundant. This morph is now 25% stronger in heal potency compared to the base, which will result in approximately 16% reduction in healing compared to the previous value. Okay, still very strong. Very strong heal. Very strong. So not a deal breaker by any means. Infectious Claws. Increase the cost of this ability in S'mores to 34 from 32. Negligible. Increase the damage of the initial hit by 25. Good. Increase the dot of these by approximately 11 per tick. Okay. All right. Not huge hits. This doesn't matter too much, even though it's 25%. It's really like the debuffs and stuff. So the claws can still do what they do, which is good. All right, Piercing Howl. Reduce the cost of this ability to 28 from 35. And reduce the damage dealt by about 14. I'd say it's a worthy trade, actually. 14% is a lot of damage to miss. That's a huge cost difference right there. 28.69 versus 35.10. It's a pretty good cost difference. Let's see what they did to the morph. This morph no longer ranks up, but instead increases the damage dealt on a fear target up to 33%. Yeah, and this is why this thing is good. This makes it more reasonable to be a spammable, because honestly what they did to Werewolf is they made it not a good thing to spam light attack with only. And for a point in time there, it was a destructive force just flooding light attacks. While they're okay with flooding light attacks in PvE, clearly not on a Werewolf. So for this, becomes more of a spammable, which is what it needed to really put out good burst damage. And its cost has been reduced. It's actually not bad. So I don't think someone said they were bad or didn't get them or didn't make sense. Yeah, this is one of the most relevant of all these cost things, because claws are dots. These are great. You can get Defile from this, and they still retain that Defile, where Defile has been nerfed on something like Sword and Board, for example. This also puts out a good AoE. The other version that AoE heals is also very strong. This heal, while strong and nerfed significantly, is so strong that it's still good. The Howl will do great damage, and probably the most relevant change is that it's cheaper. It makes it more reasonable to play your Werewolf and not need this disgusting amount of regen to put out good damage. Okay? But you can't fear a boss. Hang on, we didn't even get to the fear. That's the Howl. That's the damage. Okay. Pounce. Decrease the base cost of this ability in S'mores to... Okay, that is the most negligible change I've ever seen. It shouldn't even be in there. The AoE damage from this morph now deals the same damage as the initial hit. Okay, that's decent. I use the other one for PvP. It extends the duration. Unless this Pounce is really strong, I wouldn't change it. If it was very strong and it made me think about it, I would do it. Roar. Increase the cost to 43. Okay, very slight. Reduced the radius to 6 from 8. That hurts a lot. Increase the duration of the fear to 4 from 3.3. All morphs now last 4 seconds. Okay. Deafening roar. This ability now properly applies fracture up to 6 enemies, regardless if they are feared or not. Oh, that's huge. That's huge. That's really big. You had to hit fear to apply fracture. That was a big issue. That's really, really big. That's nice. That makes them so much easier to just put inside the fight with your other guys. This ability now ranks up in cost. This is the other one. It now ranks up. Rather than fear duration, the final base. Okay, so this is a cost reduction version. This was doing an off bounce, which is strange. They took that away, and I don't know why. No more off bouncing targets anymore. Only for Necros. GG. Werewolf transformation. Here we go. Here's the ult. What about the damage of the direwolf's PV? All right, we haven't got there. We're doing that now. This is the ult. I think the brutal pounce does the same damage, but still gap closure. Yeah, it can be good if you hit a large target range. What's our time? How are we doing? Okay, we're doing good. Hang on 1 second, chat. Okie dokie. Here we go. Pack leader. Alright, werewolf transformation. Reduce the damage dealt by your light and heavies from this ability and smorsh by approximately 17, further nerfing the light attacks. Increase the range of the lights to 7 from 5, the heavies to 10. The heavies I like. The heavies always fucking miss on this thing. I'm glad they did. This was done to preserve the same distance from the standard form since your character size increase was not applying to the range of your abilities, causing your attacks to appear as if they lost range. Yeah, I remember talking to Gilliam about this. That's a nice change, especially the heavy one. That's really nice. This ability in Pack Leader's morphs no longer apply to a bleed to enemies hit with the light attacks, or deal area damage with heavy. The ability in the Pack Leader morph no longer apply a bleed to enemies hit with lights, or deal area with the heavies. Why? So what did they do? They really just they just stripped it all. I don't like that part. That was half of what gave werewolves something, is they applied bleeds. They were very good against specific people that required bleeding. Alright. Pack Leader. The direwolves can no longer be targeted or died. Reduce the damage of the direwolves Nash attack by approximately 70%.
Barbecue, huh?
Nave.
How do you like your ribs?
Favor 100 bits. Greetings. Greetings. Thank you for the 100 bits. The direwolves can no longer be targeted or died. Hate pets that can't be targeted, but okay. Reduce the damage of the direwolves Nash by 70%. Decrease the frequency of its attacks to 2 seconds from 1. Okay. Nash now applies maim to enemies hit for 4 seconds. Okay. Reduce the damage of the lunge attack by approximately 60. Lunge will now cast every 10 rather than have a 25% chance every 3 seconds. Lunge will now snare enemies. Direwolves will now return to your side if you travel far enough away from them, since they are lost and confused. And then Berserker, increase the damage of the bleed from your light attacks. Okay, so it's only the one morph that doesn't let you bleed. So the one with these pets, the pets debuff, or you take the bleed. I see. Okay, so there's still a bleed mechanic. Okay. That's not as bad then. I thought they were stripping bleed from it entirely, in which case, like, it really lost a lot of its value. Okay. I'm okay with that. And the other's not terrible. It does some shit. Minor Maim is really big. Minor Maim's a big one. And then there's a slow in here. I'd say those are the two big things. They're like little debuffs. You know, I hate these invisible pets you can't target that just apply something, you know? If you can afford to put 2 wolves to follow me around that I can't target, I can afford to torch somebody's body, all right? Bring back torch in the body, baby, all right? Let us use our fun things in Cyrodiil. If you're going to create these dumb pets we can't target to run all over the place, bring back the torch, baby. Simple. Very simple. Pack Leader morph more of a tank morph, but no taunt on the Pack Leader since PvEers want to tank as a werewolf. Alright, well, it's not, this isn't for the tanking experience, I don't think. But alright, there we go. Developer comment, I don't even want to, werewolf, we're meant to Pack Leader emphasizing utility, Berserker was meant for offensive raw damage. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Guild. Fighters. Let's do it.
Son of a bitch.
Fix an issue where the Balrog and Hulking werewolves were not being considered werewolves for the Fighters Guild. Okay. Circle Protection reduced the cost of the ability to 39 from 79.87. Fix an issue where this ability is more where you could not gain minor protection from this ability if you had minor endurance active prior. Okay. This morph now is called Turn Evil. It fears any enemy in the area upon cast rather than only undead. Alright, so it's now an AoE fear armor thing. The other one, this morph no longer reduces the cost of roll dodging while in the area. Instead, it helps up to 6 friendly targets, yourself included, in the area every half second. The healing is based on our AoE hot standards. Alright. I thought maybe we were trying to get rid of AoE hots. Okay. Alright. I don't know if I like that one. It's an AoE stam heal. It's probably pretty good. I don't know if I want to see more shit like that. I really don't. I think some sauce people are watching your stream. The new patch notes? What? Isn't it expensive? It was. They reduced the cost of the ability and it's morphed to 3,900, which puts it in line with a slightly above average stam cost. It used to be very expensive. And this Ring of Preservation, yes, it used to do this. It created a little ring that if you roll dodge, it was cheaper, which I think was for role-playing purposes. So you could have people run through in like a trick show, and they could do cheap roll dodges and create figure eights in it. But it's something now, but I don't know if I like it. It's very small though. Like you really have to sit in a tight place to take this on. It could be. It's not the same. It's not the same as and I believe it's a 5-meter radius, isn't it? It's no more than 5, I think, possibly 6. No more than that though, for sure. But I think it's a 5-meter radius. It's a tight spot. It's not as effective as Healing Springs because it casts on you, as well. So it's not something great to use in combat. So maybe it's not that bad. I want to avoid AoEs that overheal people. I do want to avoid that. As far as PvE goes, this could definitely be used in PvE. This is something you could place at a spot to help cover what healers are complaining about missing with Healing Springs. This thing will fucking cover that. That's all. Oh, Nightbot. It's more of a PvE. Yeah, I agree. After sitting here looking at it, this does look more like a PvE type thing.
You son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. So maybe it's not that bad. For PvP purposes, as I first initially thought. Not bad. Good for tanks, yeah. Tanks can heal themselves in PvP with that, yeah. Yeah, this probably isn't bad for PvP because it's so tight in PvP. If you put this down, it's almost like a bullseye, which is why it was weird to begin with. That would be very expensive for a tank, but a DPS could definitely put this down and have really strong healing that they would provide to, if it was a tank standing in it, they could provide very strong healing to whoever stands in it because they are scaled and built for damage. A tank probably could not afford to throw out the stamina for this. So, but maybe, if they build for it, they can do anything they want. But this is definitely like a very isolated heal, single place. It's smaller than Healing Springs, and it comes casted off the user, and it's much more expensive than something like Healing Springs. So it won't be as something you can just fling around haphazardly, but it's something you can definitely say, I want this place to provide strong healing every half second, and it does that. So it's interesting. The other one is a morph. Those are two very different effects that has. Moving on, Dawnbreaker. This ability and morphs now all have a minor cast time to match the animation of slamming down the glorious Dawnbreaker. Canceling the ultimate will not consume resources, and this cannot be bash interrupted from abilities. Increase the damage of the dot by 1.1% per rank. This ability and morphs no longer has a 6-person target cap. since its total area is smaller than other ultimates, such as Dragon Leap or Perma. They mean when they say 6-person cap, that means it can stun more than 6 people, I'm guessing, right? Which is pretty cool. Flawless. This morph no longer passively increases your weapon damage. Instead, it grants you 300 weapon damage for 14 seconds, which ranks up to 20 seconds. This morph no longer increases the damage. Wow. So not only the two-handed ult, but the Dawnbreaker too also increases, while the other, the two-handed's much more damage with higher pen. But this one has a different use case. Dawnbreaker's smiting this morph will now properly gain its 20% damage increase, which will result in a 1% damage loss. Huh. Okay. AoE unlimited stuns. Yeah, pretty much. The cast time makes you use the full animation, no canceling. Yeah, I hear you. I remember people saying that. It won't have its use, but there's other options in the other weapon ults, which is nice, too. No player limit on the Fear version. If you mean the other thing, the last Fighters Guild thing, I mean, again, it's a small AoE. It's like 5 meters. So even if there was not a cap on it, it'd be very hard. Crater, thank you for the prime. Welcome in, dude. Thank you for that sub, man. Give me 1 second. 1 second, we'll continue here. Gotta use the restroom again. Damn, it's a lot of coffee. All right. Has Sprint Bug been fixed? It has, actually. Sprint Bug has been fixed. Assassin Destro, thank you for 3 months. Welcome back. The law. Thank you, man. Is this part 2? Yes, this is part 2 of the patch notes.
You son
Son of a bitch. Expert Hunter. Here we go. Let's check this one out. Evil Hunter Morph. Fixing its ability, its cost more than its original form. This morph no longer grants 25% reduced stam cost of Fighters Guild abilities. Instead, it now grants 25% damage dealt with non-Ultimate Fighter Guild abilities. Okay. Everything but Dawnbreaker in the Fighters Guild, basically. What do they want us to do? Put a whole lineup of Fighters Guild? This ability will no longer cost more than base form and no longer grants minor berserk from successful sneak attacks. It now grants minor berserk from dealing crit damage from an enemy's flank. Decrease the duration of the berserk to 5 from 10. Huh. Okay. Another great skill against the Dominion. As you watch them flee in mass, it's very easy to find a flank on your enemy. Okay. That's interesting. Do these still reveal people when activated? There's nothing in there about that, right? I don't know if it still does its reveal on stealth people, which is the tiniest radius ever. It's about this big. Okay. The reveal area was so small. Yeah, I know. It's very small. All right, here we go. Let's keep moving. Silver Bolts. This ability brought to the spammable category. It will bounce as such. Increase the damage by about 12%. Reduce costs dramatically. The ability no longer snares enemy hits. Spin them crossbows. This ability now hits all nearby enemies from your original target instead of having a cap. The AoE damage dealt is 25% weaker than the initial hit instead of 50. The AoE damage now ranks up 1%. Decrease the damage of this ability by approximately 25%. Increase the cost Reduce the snare potency. These changes will allow abilities to perform much closer to other gap closer slash. What is the range on this one? So that's like an AoE instant spammable. 25% damage reduction. However, we can amp it up here with this morph. 28 meters, is it really? Huh. Still reveals too. Okay. Interesting stuff there. All right, Trap Beast. I'm not going to spend much time on them. Interesting here. This, I'll check out stuff. Trap Beast. Increase the duration of the damage over time. And the lightweight Trap Beast morph to 10 seconds from 6. The minor force will not properly line up with the duration rather than being 2 seconds longer. Reduce the damage per tick by about 6%. Reduce the duration of the mobilize on all morphs to 2 seconds. Reduce the base cost. Okay, it's a little cheaper too. Lined up the force. This morph no longer ranks up the dot, but instead reduces the cost. Okay? They're doing that a lot. Reducing the cost instead. Rearming Trap Beast morph. Rename this ability to Barb Trap. Okay. This ability no longer places a new trap in the area after the original duration ends, but instead increases the duration of the dot applied. I don't like that, but okay. I guess it was too OP to have 2 traps. Alright, whatever. Mage's Guild Entropy redesigned its ability. It's more to operate as a dot rather than a strange hot dot buff hybrid. Okay, increase the cost ability by a lot. Entropy and Degen no longer heal. Increase the damage of it by about 220%. Decrease the duration to 10 seconds from 12. Major sorcery remains at 20 seconds. Fix the issue where sorcery is not increasing in duration with the everlasting magic passive. This morph no longer grants max health for slotting. Instead, it now heals you every 2. This morph no longer has a 15% chance to heal you when you deal lighter heavies. Instead, it returns 100 magicka when dealing lighter heavies to the target while still doing the dot. Also reduce the cost of the ability as it ranks down. It's weird. It kind of still is a strange dot. Not can be a hot. I don't know. It's still weird. And it's not bad. I mean, because ultimately people usually slot this to make up for a class that doesn't have sorcery to begin with, and they pair it in tandem with what they're doing. It actually will flow better for some of these people. Absolutely. So that's actually pretty good for the people that want to use this. Check the forum update notes on the Dev Brian. Okay. Wait. What's Wheels of Steel saying here? Let's check it out. They wanted to provide some additional context for many of the combat changes. Okay, I'll read this right now. In Update 23, our main focus is to ensure that the ultimate point of the reference ability to properly match up against one another in the respective categories. This provides us with a solid baseline where all abilities fit within a set of standards / power levels to allow future balancing paths to be much easier and timely. Yes, it's pretty much what I said earlier, which is it's obvious that was the plan, and that's a good baseline plan. If you come into like a thing and you're like, we need to fix shit, it's like, all right, where do we start? Well, let's make things kind of even so it makes sense. Because it's chaos otherwise. Anyway, we're aware that some of the content has been designed around old functionality of abilities that existed beyond our standards, and we might need some sort of compromise in regards to how you engage with it / how we balance it. This is something we will watch closely. However, we are not averse to the idea that players might need to adjust their current builds, such as running more defensive ults rather than offensive ones, or running more survival enhancing sets rather than pure damage or buff oriented ones. Please also remember that we've introduced some of our new abilities to help offset the loss of things such as Healing Spring stacking, the ability of Ring of Preservation, or the large increase of Cleansing Ritual. As always, we'll be monitoring feedback about the balance changes in the PTS cycle. However, we wanted to let everyone know that our future PTS patch, the synergy from orbs will not cause the orbs to vanish. It can be activated multiple times by anyone not on a synergy cooldown. Ooh, that's pretty cool. We haven't got to orbs even. Fucking probably next section. Seems good. How do you feel about the second half of patch notes? Not bad. Stonebreaker even worth using now that it doesn't give slot passive. Yeah, it's still an AoE stun. It's still doing something the two-handed one does not. Alright. It also has a dot. How do you feel about the healing changes? Yeah, so far so good. I really don't want to repeat it. Sorry. I don't want the whole video to be just me repeating things. Okay, so we got through Entropy, Equilibrium, Bounce, Major Resolve, Major Ward. 22 seconds instead of 20. Duration of glorious 30 seconds. Okay. Spell symmetry, increase the cost reduction from this ability to 33 from 28. Jesus. Okay. Fire Rune, increase the damage to ability S'mores by 25% for the initial hit and reduce the base cost. Increase the dot by about 115%. This morph no longer increases the duration of the stun as the ability ranks up, but instead reduces the cost of the ability. Cool. Meteor, removed the 6-person target cap from this ability in S'mores since it covers a smaller area than standard AoEs. Reduce the damage over time from this ability to approximately 13% per tick, but increase the duration so it will end a beautiful whole number when you have 2 points in Everlasting Magic. Fix an issue where this ability in S'mores would fail to deal damage if your character died after casting it. Ice Comet, this morph will no longer rank up snare duration the target's hit, but instead it will increase the total damage. The 10% damage increase of this ability will now also be applied to the dot as well. Seems good. I mean, it's just some cool shit for that. Psijic Order, meditate, slightly reduce the healing and resource return from this ability in S'mores to land on whole numbers. Increase the healing of this ability by about 5%. Psijic Order kept nice and short. Undo, please. Please fix undo. Please fix undo. Undo is still broken. SOS. Red alert. Fire Rune's already proven to be bad. Why? What's up with it? Is 200 ult the new meta? It looks pretty good right now, yeah. You gotta hit it too. Okay. Damage isn't high enough to be worth running. The Fire Rune, you mean? Okay. Still getting anywhere about my Heavy Nightblade. Negative. You're still looking good, brother. Undaunted Blood Altar. This ability and S'mores no longer have a cast time and now cost health rather than magicka. No, wow, no cast time on Blood Altar? Holy shit. And it now costs health rather than magicka. This ability no longer attempts and fails to rank up in the healing and the synergy it provides. Instead, it reduces the cost. These synergies will now properly use their activator's highest crit strike chance rather than just using spell. Blood Feast now heals 65% of the activator's max health at all ranks. It's crazy, dude. It's actually really good. It's a huge buff for Blood Altar. It's a good skill. Should be used. It's not used much. 7th and Ravager both proc off just surprise attack. Seems good, dude. It's well thought out. I like it. I actually don't like it. I didn't like most of the armor changes. Alright, let's keep going here. Bone Shield. Increase the base cost to 43.20 from 37.80, but apply the 15% stam cost reduction it was missing, which will take the cost to 36. Okay, now rank up. Spiked. This ability's damage return no longer self-perpetuates with the other damage return procs. Will no longer remove the attack from sneak attacks for finishing the attack. Increase the damage return to 60 from 33 to put it better in line with the other morph. Yeah, that's a big buff to that. I wonder how good that would be. Always wondered if that got to a place as good. I mean, it's supposed to return a lot of damage. I wonder if you can front load extra shields on in front of it too. It's a lot of work though to do. Alright, Bone Wall and Spinal synergies. Synergy will now affect up to 6 allies, up from 4. I like that. Reduce the size of the shields to 30% from the Synergizer's max health from 50. Alright, so they reduced it, but more people can be hit. Alright. Inner Fire, reduce the cost of ability and S'mores to 27 from 4,000, but increase the chance of applying the synergy to 50 from 25. Morph now also causes your target to take 5% more damage from you while the taunt persists, and added the stamina cost reduction to this morph, taking the cost to that 22. So many just like cost changes, which I understand. It's just like, fuck, dude. I'm just reading through cost changes at a point here. Half this. Inner Rage's changes that it now guarantees the synergy instead of increasing the chance. Okay. Necrotic Orb. Here's the other big change people hated.
You son of a bitch.
I'm reading chat here. It's the first time aboard with the patch. Yeah, see, I think there's more people starting to... I don't know. When I went into the forums, it's just mass rage, though. You know? All right, here we go with Orb. And bear in mind, we just read something from Brian Wheeler that was just posted. So we'll put them together. Reduce the base cost of this ability to $37.80, so it's cheaper, significantly. Reduce the damage per tick of the Mystic Orb by 13%, but it can now deal damage every half second instead of every second. You can only have one orb active at a time. That's the big thing that's upsetting people, and I get it. Decrease the speed to 2 meters per second from 3 meters per second to help deal damage or heal targets more reliably. Healing orbs reduce the healing per tick from this ability by about 13% and fix an issue where the allies affected by the heal from this ability were unable to take damage from necrotic or mystic orbs from some players. Alright, so this has been changed. Yes, you can only have one orb active at a time, but different people can synergize the orbs. That's actually a pretty great compromise, I think. Arctic Storm, thank you for 9 months. Welcome back. Thank you for the resub. What is strongest DPS PvP class right now? Stab Nightblade. Alright, word is healers are getting the nerf bat. What are your takes on that? We need more healers, not people playing them less. Yeah, I don't think it's safe to say they're just broadly nerfing healers. They're nerfing specific heals, or reworking how they function. Healing springs one at a time, orb one at a time. At this point, I don't even think it is to take stress off the server. That's why I wanted to talk to the devs to feel if that was kind of sort of part of their mission goal there, but I don't think it is. But it will be a thing that will happen. Same thing with the regeneration change from Resto staff. But one orb at a time per caster, multiple synergies. I think that's not bad compromise. Orbital staff, somewhere the one synergy can be used. Decent middle ground. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty good for that. Yeah, Protective Circle now heals. That's something we saw in there, too. The only role I play is healer. If they destroy that, I have no reason to play. Okay, well, I mean, they're not destroying a healer, because it's not like people are going to start playing without healers all of a sudden, right? You know what I'm saying? So it can't essentially destroy you if people are always going to need a healer. You know? Not sure if I'm ahead of where you are in PTS. What do you mean, Emac? On the reading? They already do in most dungeons. What do you mean, not need healers? I don't run a pure healer in most dungeons. 4-mans. A lot of 4-man content, you don't need a healer, though. So, yeah. And even if you have a healer in 4-man content, it's usually somebody that still helps do damage, likely in the execute phase, like a Templar that can beam or something. Alright. So... Bedtime story stream. That's the point. They should make it so you do need healers. Right. Right, I hear what you're saying. I get that point. You know what that's caused from, really, is power creep being way out of control. And that content not being difficult at all. Because when you get to harder content, some of the new, more recent DLC dungeons, and you want to do vet hard mode, you will bring a healer. Or you'll at least throw more healing in. One way or the other. And the only reason you don't want to throw a healer in is because you may opt to have 3 DPS that all, like, maybe throw Vigor out instead, as a means of getting through the content easier, because you can burst through it faster. Now, if you have, like, a side healer that does damage, that's the fair compromise there. And that's usually what an optimal group setup would do, because they can throw buff sets in, too. Is everyone trying to be positive and then there's some negatives? Because I thought Wohler had said power creep did not exist. I don't know. I've never heard that or what that. I've never heard that he said that, and I don't know what he means by that. To say the power creep doesn't exist. I mean,
You son of a
CP
bitch.
has gone up, and those other 4-man dungeons in conjunction with new sets and CP, it's pretty impossible to say that power creep doesn't exist. Like, those things have become so easy. Then why not buff some of the old content, question mark? It's not a bad idea. They don't go through and rework every dungeon. That's every patch. That's part of why they stopped raising the bar on CP, because there was a power creep from it. But to make some of these changes to healers doesn't mean they're not looking to do that, or that's a wrong thing to do. I'm a healer, and all these changes really aren't bad at all. It stops you from being brain dead with only using 2 skills in the rest of the tree. Yeah, like yeah. I mean, one thing, like changing... Someone was in here, they said, I'm a healer, and if they change healers, I have no reason to play, and I quit. And, you know, that's really a terrible point of view to take, I think, for starters. First of all, if you really look at what they're doing, if they're adjusting heals, right? They're going and making changes to heals, and you're like, they killed my class. My healer's dead. What is it that really causes demand and reason for you to play your healer? It's what someone else pointed out in here. Having demand for your healer is what creates the need to have your healer there. Not the heals itself. It's not like, oh man, Healing Spring's so good. Can we get 4 more people playing healers? Maybe 5. Feels amazing, man. No, that's not what creates demand. If demand there is there because the content demands healers, that's what will create that job for you. Not whether Healing Springs does one thing or another. You know? Okay. Alright. Healers do more than just healing. It's true. They play support. So I'm just trying to read some things here. Yeah. We pointed that out, that Wheeler said this. So Wheeler added this in. And that's one of the changes. You know, they already did things to compensate for some of these things people are talking about. So that's already happening. Are there any streamers out there that are not going with what Zoss is deciding to do? Well, which part? There's a lot of things in here I haven't agreed with 100%. And there's various things I said they could adjust. And there's tons of things in here I really enjoy. And that's why I'm going through. It's hard for me to pull things out and just say it was this one that I disagreed with or whatever. But yes, for people that have made it through here or want to watch it on YouTube or whatever, you will see there are things I agree with and disagree with or comment on. I see lots of people quitting ESO if these go live. Yes, and I'm not sure what they're gonna quit or why. If it's you know, I've already talked about it. People that want to quit over some of these healing changes, like I'm literally talking through them right now, and I have no fucking idea what they're on about. Like why that would be like if you change Healing Springs, I'm fucking retired from this game. Been in this shit for 4 years, but those Healing Springs, how dare you? I'm out. Like I can't even imagine. That's insane. That's like changing. That'd be like me saying, if you change Endless Hail, I'm fucking done. How many stamina posts do you see? How many people do you see bitching that Endless Hail is actually getting changed this patch? You change that, I'm fucking out of here. I got a bar swap more than every 12 seconds. You can go fuck yourself. I'm out of here. I quit. 12 seconds is my limit for switching back. Scribblings, thank you for 100 bits. Much drama. Very sad. Very bad. Quit. Mad. Yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Thank you. Endless is nerfed bad too. I know it is, but my point is, with Endless being nerfed, do you see people saying, I quit? Nerf my stam class? I quit. No. So how the fuck do people come in here and say, change Orb and Healing Spring? Somehow I can't do the content I haven't tried yet. I quit. Like, what the fuck's wrong with people, man? If they literally made your job harder to do, it's going to increase the demand that there's competent people there to do that fucking job. That's all it does. I can't just spam one spot on the ground and put the same spell on the ground 5 times. I quit. I'm out. I don't know what's happening, you know? Endless Hail Nerf isn't that bad. I'm not weighing how hard or bad it is. I could say the Healing Springs isn't that bad, right? It doesn't matter. The point is people just like don't want to adjust. They want to read something and be like, where do I quit? How do I take a stand on this shit? And why? And why? For Healing Springs? Orbs I get a little more, but they already just gave you a middle ground on orbs. Multiple people can synergize it. Boom. If people are mad they can't overheal, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. That's a little... You know what? That's just being overly emotional. All right? And if you're that upset over Healing Springs, it's time to take a break. It's time to go outside. You know, take a walk down to your mailbox and hang out there for a little bit. You know, I don't know. Imagine having a DD using a Nova/Perma for protection during a heal check. Yeah. Are all these changes too much for a single patch? This is more like 2 patches. They really didn't put that much in elsewhere. That's kind of why it is a lot. It's a huge amount. It is. Let's keep moving. We got through Necrotic Orb. Hell yeah, let's do it. All right. I think this is not what people expect. People wait for global change that the skills work, maybe work. You do not need to change the balance. You need to do everything work as expected as it is written in the skill description. Maybe I'm wrong that many leave because the skills just don't work. They press the buttons and the game doesn't respond as it should. Well, yes, and the issue to that is server performance. If you press buttons and things don't work and they're not going off and you're experiencing bad lag, that is because of performance. I do think, whether it's intended or not, that these heal changes will help with performance. I think it's impossible to say that they could not help with performance. So that is my biggest win I award to the heal changes, is that they could actually help performance. Increased performance, better gameplay. Better gameplay, happier players. Right? Same people complaining about probably the spam Breath of Life. Yeah, people went bonkers when they made changes to Breath of Life. All right, Breath of Life used to be 28 meters, like fucking 360, went through any amount of walls, would hit anybody anywhere, and used to heal for more. And people said, if you change that shit, I'm quitting. There probably were some people that quit, you know? Maybe, who knows? But that shit was unbelievable. That shit needed to be nerfed, and it did get nerfed, you know? So, people want to be ridiculous, they want to be emotional, let them, you know? It may sound silly, but why not add more servers, or better yet, make dedicated servers for PvP only? Well, it's hard to understand what they do on the server side. They do rely on mega server technology, which hopefully we don't have to see again. It's kind of nice in some cases, and in other cases it's not. But that's a whole nother issue. And it's really beyond us, because that's just like a budget issue. It's like, can they budget to get this versus that? And when it comes to the mega server, they're committed to that technology, so that shit's staying in place. That's not changing, you know? I need to keep moving along here. How much more do we have here? Let me see real quick. Oh, not much at all. Okay. Not much at all. We're going to keep moving it here, because I want to... Today's a short day for me. I can't go long, and there's some other shit I want to do today, too, so... Thanks for the info. Not sure why people would quit. As a new player trying healer, I'm looking forward to trying out the changes. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things coming through here, and it's and people will find a way around it. Number one, they will find a way to adapt and survive. That is the key to success, dude. They are not dead by any means. You know. As a DPS, I am rage quitting over the healing nerf since I can't stand and stupid anymore. I understand. So you don't find an issue with the removal of AoE heal for small scale? Which one? The healing springs? Is there a link to the Wheeler comment? Well, you could search it on the forums. It's an additional context. It's in the PTS forum. seriously, as a new player, I'm generally wondering what is the best class for an Argonia Magicka healer? Warden or Templar or something? There's still AoE heals. There are, yeah. I don't know which one. For Vigor, I haven't made it to Vigor changes, Godplar. You're saying you don't find an issue with the removal of AoE heal for small scale. Okay, we'll get to the Vigor changes here shortly, I imagine, right? Ah, it's right there. Hold that thought, all right? For a second. I was snipe buffed, yeah, I don't know. Alright, let me keep moving. Radiate, the synergy is now 1 second delay on activation and... Okay. Spawn Broodling, synergy. Reduce the initial hit of this ability in the other versions of the morph by approximately 21%. These synergies now summon 1 spider for 10 seconds rather than 2 spiders for 15 seconds, which will be slightly reduce their damage dealt. Black Widows increase the damage of the poison applied to the spider by approximately 66% to offset some of the damage loss of the base ability. Note this synergy will see a large efficiency loss. You know what I'd like to see? What I really want from this is there a melee version? Can we make it so we don't have to... You have to be like 14 meters away to even synergize this skill, and I don't like that. You can't use it on melee. Which means it's only usable by ranged. However, it scales only off stam, which means the only limited crowd in the game that can hit this fucking synergy is a ranged bow user. That's it. Nothing else. Or you got to do a 20-meter alley-oop. Be like, Tuggles, I'm throwing in a fucking trapping webs. Hit it as you charge in there, bro. Don't mess up or else it won't work and then you can never use it. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous because it's such a wide range. Reduce the cost of this ability and smorfs by approximately 50%. They were missing the standard. These abilities now deal an initial hit of damage when they land at their location. Fix an issue where parts of this ability would fail if the caster was silenced. Yeah, this needs to be fixed, man. I'm telling you. Like, this needs to be fixed. It can't be a range only. How in God's name is one of the only range-only synergies? It's one of the only stam synergies, too. There are not many stam synergies in the game. There are not many. Most synergies in the game scale off magic and magic pen. This has been another big request of mine in the past year. Please give stamina more synergy options that scale with them. They do not scale off our penetration. They do not scale off our stats. Now, as far as the stats go, apparently they scale off your highest max stat, like stam, but they don't scale off the pen, and that's a big thing. And for some of them, I don't even trust that they scale off our max stat. But ultimately, a lot of them are magic, and most of them are melee. However, once we finally get a stam one in Broodlings, it's ranged only. I don't like that. It scales with Magicka since update 22. The Broodlings does? The Broodlings is Magicka scaling too? That's not even my fight for it though, Gil. I went like here's what I don't like is like you have things that are so great like Nova, you run in and pop a Nova, best used on a Magicka, right? Like I want that for melee. Something like standard down. All right, take your Stam Sork and fuck off. Bring in that Magicka Sork. Hit this standard, baby, because that's the optimal way to do it. You know what I mean? Like, there should be something for Stam to come in and be like, yeah, I'm a Stam, and I synergize things too. That's all. Good to see you, brother. Long list here, man. I'm liking a lot of it, though. I won't harp on that one, though. I know we've talked about this before, and you clearly have been working on a lot of other things. But that's my only point on it. I just like to reiterate it. That's all. I'm not that heartbroken over it, But I think synergies. I always do say this. I think synergies are really fucking cool. They give people really fun things to do together. It makes people work together, and it's really exciting when you do things that work together, and you have these grand like a Nova, right? You drop a Nova in a fight, someone goes and hits it, and you see a couple people hit the ground. There's nothing like it, man. It's really fun. Whether it's offensive or defensive or just some middle ground sustain, having players work together and rewarding that teamwork is a great thing. I think it's great. I hope to see more in the future. I know I can tell there's obviously a lot of things that have been worked on here, but I hope to see more of that like in the future with Undaunted. And if that happens, I'd like it to remember that there are stamina users. It'd be good to scale things off them, and it'd be good to give them options to get in the fight and them be the ones to hit certain things and still have Magicka hit some of the things. And maybe there's some for both, right? That's ideally how it should be, right? That's all I'm saying. Harmony Magicka setup on Nova is dope, yes, but it doesn't exist for stamina. That's my point. That's what I'm coming to, you know? Okay. Who drops a Nova? Who do that? The Rip Squad, baby. Hell yeah, brother. All right, let's keep moving on, dudes. What's up, Senpai? Just tested Magicka DPS on PTS, and I can say that the DPS has dropped. Bar swapping is slow. I think the PV side overall DPS just dropped. All right. I'll leave a lot of that to Outcast, honestly. Like, I'm going to let him test through some of these things. As far as DPS runs go, bar swapping issues like that, I'm happy to hear those, and I'll be checking that out myself, too. New bleed damage does not look good. Overall, have lost their function, in my opinion. All right, we'll see. It's going to hit non-CP harder, too. Non-CP, lower health, lower ticks. By a little bit. Let's keep moving here, guys. Let's keep it rolling. Alliance work. Salt, Caltrops. I heard this was gutted. Reduced base cost to 29.84 from 35. Increase the snare potency to 50 from 30. So this is already more of a utility skill. Reduce the damage per tick by approximately 60%. Decrease the duration to 10 from 12. These changes apply to all Morse. Caltrops now rank up 1.1 rather than blah, blah, blah. Anti-cavalry decreased the base duration to 12, which ranks up to 15. Also, no longer increased the damage. This ability no longer on Razor. This ability no longer deals initial hit damage, but instead applies major fracture to the enemies hit by it for 4 seconds. That's huge. Overall, I think they made this a utility skill and less something for PvE. And to that, I say, I'm fucking tired of having to put dumb shit on my bar like Caltrops because it's the best thing to do in PvE. I don't want to do that shit. So I don't know why people told me this was gutted. I don't see why. It's a utility skill and it should remain that. Okay? When people are like, yeah, you have to put Caltrops on your bar this patch. When people say that shit, I just like do a deep sigh. I'm like, I don't want to put dumb shit like this on my bar for PvE because that's the best thing. It's part of why I don't like PvE. It's like make or break. Like you put this, that, and that on your bar. And if you don't, you're an idiot, right? And I don't want to do that shit. So things like this I kind of like. I kind of like not needing this for PvE, personally. Now we need to put dumb shit like Soul Trap on our bar. All right, let me dream for a minute. Let me feel good for 5 seconds. And you know what? I'd rather cast Soul Trap than throw down fucking Caltrops. How the hell did some giant AoE that was meant to snare Zergs become the PvE go-to for DPS? Somewhere we lost our way, right? Okay, here we go. Let's keep it moving. Magicka Det. Reduce the cast time of this ability and the inevitable morph to 1 second from 1.5 or increase the damage of all the morphs by about 7% to ensure they deal our AoE damage standard. Reduce the base damage of all morphs to 35 from 4k. I'm sorry, the base cost of all morphs to 35 from 4k. Remove the maximum limits of the target scaling of this ability so they actually combat large groups of enemies in their intended design. Okay. So kind of buffed fighting larger groups, hitting the Zergs again, or trying to. It's not a huge thing. There's not many times you hit a huge amount of people, but there can be, and there will, and those moments will feel a little better. How about a stamina detonation? Don't say it's Caltrops. Don't tell me it's Caltrops. How about a little stam detonation? How about a stamina vicious death, baby? Who's ready? Who's ready to get on the front line with their orc, puff their chest out, and swing an axe, and start vicious deathing people? Who's ready? I'm ready. Time to level Soul Trap? Yeah, go level Soul Trap. And then grab your axe, come out, and say, where's my stamina detonation vicious death set? Because I'm ready, dude. I would like to see more of that. Anything to knock down faction stack Zerg would be great. These tools are helpful there, but it's not a huge thing here. I'll be honest, there's not many times you hit that many targets with your det. But sometimes there can be on a Friday, Saturday night. There absolutely can be inside a keep. So yeah, let's do it. They already have Stam Vicious build. Hits hard. Can't wait to hit harder. What do you mean? Well, I mean, you can put Vicious Death, and I have done that. I have put Vicious Death on my Stam builds, but why? The question is, why do we have to do that? Do you want us to kill Zergs? Cool. Give us the tools on Stam and Magicka equally. because that happens everywhere else in the game. That's all I'm saying. This is not a coming down hard on someone point. But when you see certain patches where they start adding a stam lich equal, they add a trapping, there's this equality between sets. There's now a vicious Ophidian for Magicka. Cool. Where's the vicious death for stamina? Let's get equality across the board, baby. I want to knock out 16,000 disease damage when I go in and break someone's skull. Let's do it, dude. I'm ready. What's the big EP PvP guilds on EP? On no CP? There are none. There's the 3M Nightcap crew, and then there's Mega Nova's group, which I think they've been on break a lot this patch, and I don't blame him. He doesn't have many people to fight with that have a heart. Spin to win a Stam proxy. Tuggos, get out of here. That's Pulsar. Okay. Anyway, let's keep moving. Let's do it. Let's do it. That was just a little point I want to throw in there. Rapids, one of the worst skills in the game. Reduced the cost to 68 from 8,100. This ability its Morse no longer remove themselves if you take an action such as healing or damage. Okay. Reduce the duration of the expedition granted to 8 seconds from 3 seconds. Note this will continue granting Major Gallop. Retreating, this ability no longer ranks up in duration. Charging, this no longer grants Minor Expedition after the Major Gallop ends. As reapplied, instead it grants Minor Expedition bonus alongside the Major bonus. This ability no longer ranks up in duration, but instead reduces its cost. Fix an issue where the Minor Expedition was ignoring range requirements and applying it land. So it gives Minor Expedition now at the same time as Major Expedition on the 1. And retreating does what? Just the snare removal on yourself or whatever. Phoenix Bomb. Oh yeah, I already talked about Phoenix. I hope it gets changed. What is happening here in chat?
Hello, cutie pie.
Hello, cutie pie. Boston's gifted in. Yo, Megadeth, welcome back. Another one. Weren't you gifted in like 2 weeks ago? Back again? Hell yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to read chat here. I think retreating is less damage from people behind you. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to read. People are fighting here. You guys need to stop fighting, but I'm trying to figure out what you're fighting about. Boss is gifting in another. Gilliam, bringing those biceps, brother.
One of us is in
Welcome
deep
back.
trouble.
One of us in deep trouble. Retreating is take less from the flank. What are you guys fighting here? Except that happens all the time too. Most people cry about PP. Okay. What are we fighting about? Healing? What are we fighting about? What are you guys angry about? Why shouldn't 5 people using Vigor be good enough to keep their 5 people alive? Are we arguing against Vigor stacking? Should be a means of surviving? I don't think it's fair if that's what we're talking about. That you can go all damage and flood AoE Vigors at a pretty reasonable cost that provides 5 times the Vigor healing to every person involved. No, probably not a good idea. This is more of the stacking overhealing we talked about. Is it something I can do with my Stam players and have done? Yes, it is. It doesn't make sense. Stacking overhealing. I don't know if we can do this, and I'd love to get you on here for it. Oh, hang on a second. I got a message here. No. I wanted to talk about this, and I don't know if the devs would be open to talking about it, but I really wonder if some of the overhealing thing is for gameplay purposes, or are they trying to stop overhealing? Is it for performance? Is it for both? Because it certainly could be for both. I really would like to know it, but I do agree with stabbing at some of these easy AoE overhealing things. I don't think they're good for either side of the game. They probably would dramatically help performance if they got a lot of that under control. I think it could help there. But for a combat perspective, does it make sense? Does it make sense you put up 8 layers of overhealing per half second? So when you went in there and you got out of position and somebody blindsides you from the side, you're already at full health, and it doesn't matter because you're with 6 people that are overhealing you? Is that good? I don't think it's good. continue on the Vigor? I'm trying, but people are fighting before I even get there. Do you think a lot of the heal nerfs will actually show a skill difference between brain dead healers or actual good healers? Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think that's the point of it. But if it's harder to heal, yeah, then it'd be right. Exchanges suck for me. My Magden's dead in the water. Why is your Magden dead? Cirrus, thank you for the T1. Welcome in, man. Thank you. We're going to be done to compensate for the loss of healing in VCR 3. Okay, I don't want to talk about the trials right now. But I understand it, but I don't want to talk about it. We'll watch Outcast get her done. Worried about some of the changes may make people not want to play healer, and it seems that finding a healer is sometimes extremely hard to do, but it does seem like they're trying to address servers, so I can't fail them on that. Yeah, it'd be nice to understand it more, and that's fine. We'll figure it out, I'm sure, at a point. It's bad when it's large groups. I think it's okay for 2 to 4 groups. Okay, but you mean the overhealing? I mean, that's how it works, man. There's no caps on it. Like, you can just start overhealing everywhere, and it applies... if there's 80 people around, you can overheal on 80 people, and then your gameplay experience is 800 ping, 60 people standing on your body, and you're like, how did this happen? It's stupid. I'm just gonna keep going. We're gonna get through this, guys. I mean, everything's gonna be all right. Vigor, adhere to this ability in our single target hot standards. Vigor and resolving now only heal the caster. Increase the duration to 10 from 5, but decrease the tick frequency to 2 from 1. Increase the healing per tick by about 85%. Reduce the cost to $22.95 from $3,500. Resolving Vigor, this morph doubles the frequency, but halves the duration, so it drops to 5 seconds every 1 second. Echoing, this morph reintroduces AoE healing capability, healing up to 6 allies in a 15-meter radius. Echoing, still very strong. That's really strong if you want to go solo with this. Yep. Plus reduce the cost, pretty good. I mean, pretty big. So why were people complaining about Vigor? What were people upset about Vigor? It's a massive buff to soul. Yeah, people were like... my group's dead. Like, what are people upset about? Vigor healer LFG. I can't hear my Zerg anymore, but you can though too. Is the thing. Echoing always was good and is still good. Like, what's happening here? New Echoing has a higher tooltip. Yeah, it's going to. So what's happening? If you were complaining, you can cross the heal with the different morphs. What do you mean? Please explain that. It doesn't make sense what you just said. People are complaining. They're complaining that you can cross the heal with different morphs. What do you? Can you reword that? Because all of them stacked. You didn't have. You mean different vigors? They all stacked. They all stacked 100%. All of them stacked. While you're answering that, I'll read Warhorn. Warhorn, sturdy Warhorn. This ability no longer extends the duration of the bonuses to provide minor, ward, and resolve. Instead, it will still grant 50% worth of crit resist to targets affected to operate as a counter to aggressive Warhorn. Wow. 15% worth of crit resist? That's a lot. That's a lot. Looks good, man. Go selfish or go group. 2900 a tick, no crit with resolving. Jesus, that's a lot. It's so much cheaper too. Like, is that the part people are missing? Did you miss this on Vigor? Reduce cost to $22.95 from $35.11. Increased healing per tick by 85%. With resolving morph, actually kept frequency the same, but doubled the power with a lot less cost. What are people on about? Like, nerf. It's like a quadruple buff, dude. I don't know. Emperor, you can no longer generate ult Maul and transformation of Bone Goliath Werewolf while you're Emperor. Okay. Rip Drac. Support barrier. This supports the morph now affect 12 groups instead of 6. Okay. Reviving morph. Reduce the heal per tick a little bit. Reduce the duration to 15 from 30, but increase the frequency to 1 from 1.5. Okay. Add a 1 second delay to the first heal tick. Okay. Cold One, thank you for the 100 bits. Thank you for cutting through the bullshit and giving us some hard truth. My pleasure, dude. My pleasure. We're getting it done. We're getting it done. We're near the end. That's probably the biggest buff to Stam I've read in the patch notes. And people were, I was expecting, like, wait till you get some vigor. We're gutted. It's over. But, alright. I think people just get angry when they read words. Replenishing barrier. The magic restored from this ability's conditional requirements now restore a flat amount of magic rather than a percent of your max. Okay, kind of like the other stuff they did earlier. Reduce the amount of ultimate restored per shield dissolved to 4 from 6. Note this ability can now affect more targets. The total restore of both the magic and ultimate can potentially be higher. Okay. Guard reduced the base cost to activate this ability to 36 from 43 since they were missing the 50% stam cost standard. Purge ability and S'mores no longer reduce the duration of incoming negative effects. Increase the amount of negative effects instantly removed per cast to 3 from 2. This ability now ranks up. Vision Purge will now cost 54. This will no longer heal for 15 of the max health if the negative effect was removed. Instead, it will heal for 7 to 10% of their max health per negative effect removed. How many people does this hit? They don't list this specifically. Does anyone know definitively pretty well how many negative effects are, I'm sorry, how many people can be impacted per purge? 6? Okay. Okay. Not bad. Revealing Flare adjusts its ability to behave more closely to other reveals, such as Mage Layer or Expert Hunter. The Flare now lingers in the area where cast for 5 seconds rather than being instantaneous. Okay. Lingers instead of... Alright. Increase the base cost 5,400 from 1889, which ranks down to this. This ability now lasts 7 seconds down from 8. Wait, what? Remains the blinding flares. No longer damages enemies revealed, but now stuns revealed enemies for 2 seconds, which ranks up to 4. What the fuck's the point of this ability? Does it really cost 5,400? What's it do? Still just do this lightweight dot? Alright. I don't know what's happening with that one. Siege Shield. This ability and S'mores now affect up to 12 allies instead of only 6. Reduce the base cost to 8,100 from 9,450. Propelling Shield. Reduce the cost. Siege Shield. The protection this will now apply to all friendly siege weaponry, including your own rather than only your ally siege fix initiative where the damage mitigation from siege on players was applying to anyone in the area instead of you and allied. Okay. Revealing Flare's nerf is weird. It's weird. I don't know what they did. I don't see why the word have changed, but the greater good of problems, even if it's sacrifice players' builds, you can add another skill. Yeah, change isn't bad if it, like... There's nothing in here that's, like, crazy in that respect. Gotta go, brother. Take care. Catch you later. Alright, Senpai, take it easy, dude. People actually use Flare. Not anymore. Bloody Mar, oh, yeah, consumables. I don't know if I'm gonna go through all these. These chances now grow weapon and spell damage to your bash instead of only weapon damage. Spell damage to your bash. Who's ready to do some spell damage bashes with me? Who's ready to get it done? So y'all agree to keep quiet about Oblivion Foe, right? Is that a set in here? That got changed. Let me see what else there is. Let me see. We're gonna skim the rest. I'm not. I can't really sit here and just dig through more shit. I really can't. Affliction. Fix an issue where the Defiled Pass does not affect the defile this set. Set now place an appropriate buff icon. Hell yeah, brother. That's going to be a good set. I mean, it already is, but it's going to be more attractive. Ebony does it flat. Heem Jaws. Major Berserk granted this now lasts 5 up from 3, but now only works on enemies who are actively in combat with. Hakeem John out of my mind. Ice Furnace now also gives spell damage rather than weapon damage. Okay. Crag is the area effect. This ability will now update when fighting dragons. Merciless Charge. Increase the amount of ticks this weapon grants by 1, resulting in approximately 20% damage increase. Okay. So this can trigger off of each tick of Stampede's AoE. Oh, really? Okay. Increase the damage of the bleed. Bleeds don't seem great right now. This is where the stam return. This would also, it would fail if you're wearing Vicious Serpent. Okay, I see. Ice Furnace, yeah, hell, dude. Magicka Bash build VD is in your future. It's coming. Hang in there. Area effect this ability now properly updates when fighting dragons. This set now ticks once every second for 4 seconds instead of once every 2 seconds for 6. This will result in 1 additional tick. Okay, Sentinel, the Dwemer Spider one. Set will now always spawn on the target who proc the summon rather than only on the caster. The spider is now also immobile and will no longer move once it has begun channeling. Okay. Red Mountain fixed an issue where this set gained a killing blow. It would not grab a new target in the area.
You son of a
Huh,
bitch.
I didn't know that. Increase damage is double the value. Since volley and its morphs only tick every 1 second instead of every half, the values are slightly less than double since they are now prettier numbers. Okay. Torx packs will no longer increase the damage Oblivion chance. Okay. Sets can no longer proc in the same multiple. All Villagers nerf. Okay. Warrior's Fury, this now procs off taking any damage rather than only crit. Reduce the duration buff to 5 from 6. Stacking can now occur every half second. Reduce the total number. Resulting in a 150 damage reduction of... Okay. It doesn't need crits now. It makes it more feasible for non-CP. In an effort to decrease the amount of times you end up stuck in combat in Cyrodiil, all ranged guards have undergone sweeping changes to their awareness and aggro behavior. That's not what causes it. That's not what caused it. Note, pure melee guards are not affected by this change, nor the rules of engagement for pure players. I don't think this is what caused it at all. We could take a keep. We would take a keep successfully and spawn our guards, and we're stuck in combat for like 10 minutes. Defensive ticks would keep you in combat too. I mean, there's a few things that I think could potentially do this. You like the momentum change? It's weird. But yeah, it's like, can adapt? Yes, will adapt? Absolutely. Yeah. It's weird they put evasion attached to it. That's the part I thought that was weird. Okay, we'll keep moving. You get let attack by someone in a bow group in your combat until you wipe or you die. Yeah, some weird shit. Battlegrounds. There's now an alternate layout. That's right, I heard about this. Alternate layouts for certain maps for certain modes. Volendrung, decrease the damage per hit from Volendrung's Sundering Swing ability to 10,000 damage per hit from 12,000 damage per hit. So they slightly nerfed. That's got to be the AoE, I'm imagining. The ultimate. That thing is fucking ungodly. What happened? Oh, 100 bits. Can you ask Quid to send me their gaming chairs? Planning on opening a furniture store. Hell yeah, brother. Thank you for the 100 bits. There you go. Volendrung now has a proper icon and message in the Death Recap UI. Okay. Animations, fixtures, terrain, visuals, combat, monsters, monster abilities, crafting and economy, dungeons, exploration, housing, quests, UI. Gamepad mode. Fix an issue where you can unintentionally fire the ability bound to the B button when backing out of a menu. Backing out of the Epic Hoovian. Thank you for 6 months. Welcome back. Oh shit, dude. Thank you for the resub. So that's pretty much it for the patch notes, guys. Overall thoughts? Whole lot of changes. Still doing the skill audit clearly in this patch. But frankly, I think they did they may have hit everything in their skill audit. Like done a full audit. And there'll be some leftover things I'm sure to address or hit. And from here they can probably adjust things as needed. There are some dramatic changes to certain things. I am not against these changes to some of the healing things. In fact, I would look more at some of those things. Again, I don't think I don't think they may have changed them for server performance, but I know for a fact that server performance has decreased as numbers increase on the front line with heals. You can 100% see it. When you see a ball group come together, and I mean, we don't even see them on non-CP much. You see them more on CP, at least on PCNA. You see these really well-trained groups of at least 24 people. And it's generally what they do. It's just 24-man raid. But they fill the fucking thing out. They stack it with everything. They flood healing springs. So many hots are going, server lags out. You can actually feel them in the area without ever seeing them. So that kind of shit, I'm all for that going. I really am. Will it change PvE or PvP, or you have to, whatever. If it makes performance and gameplay better, because it's the other thing, it makes gameplay better. They're not this infinite, invincible thing where I could go in and drop something and they're all immediately at 100% health because I didn't insta-kill them, because there's 25 different heals hitting them per second. DexMex, thank you for the prime. Welcome in, man. They should have removed CP from PvP. That's still maybe to be coming. And in fact, I would expect they're going to change CP for PvE as well. It's going to be changed overall, I would think. I would think the goal by maybe next year is to change CP. It's the one thing that is not friendly to new players coming into this game is the CP system, so expect it to get changed. I hope it does. It sucks for PvP. And frankly, it hasn't made PvE much better. Every patch it goes up a bit, and suddenly you hit every mob for more than you did last patch. And then we wonder, why is this dungeon so much easier years later? And, you know, we go through all those hurdles. So, you know. Dartonita, thank you for 3 months. Greetings. Welcome back. Thank you for the resub. So, going to be fun up in January. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. A lot of changing to your builds. Pretty much everyone's going to go through change. You can't really just sit there and not change for a lot of these builds. I honestly don't think these changes are for making the server better. They may have not for the healing, but I guarantee you that would improve it. But what are you against with it, Godplar? So you were asking about the Vigor. What was your problem with Vigor? Vigor looks very strong. What was the issue there with it? New players don't like CP, question mark? No, because if you come into the game and you don't have max CP and people start kicking you out of the group because you don't have high CP and you're not, you know, it's this gateway thing. It's not bad to have progression mechanics in your game, but CP I don't feel has been a good one. When it comes to PvP, it's certainly not a good one. Real balance will come with CP rework. I think they could really address things much better there than, yeah. When does this patch happen, though? In about a month. Will Deadly Cloak proc the passive bleed if it's on my back bar? Yeah. It should. Did you hear about the movie Constipation? It hasn't come out yet. What's up, Joe? How you doing? Vigor comes out the same, I feel, because it's double the heal over half the time. Yeah, I'm just asking, what is the... Godplar, you were saying about the... What was the issue with Vigor? That you were like, it's been nerfed now. What am I going to do? I think that was the question, is why is it nerfed? How do I feel? Let's look at the crown story. Misclicked the motif, bought for 5. Okay. Yeah, refund, just send in a ticket, dude. Solo play can utilize Vigor very well. Solo play can and group play. It's still good in both. My issue's Veiled Inheritance. Yeah, that shit's rip. A lot of the sets I covered on day one need adjustment, yeah. They nerf bleed damage. It appears it may be a little weaker. It hasn't been thoroughly tested. We'll be checking those kind of things over the course of the month. Okay. So, I would say it's not buffed at this point. I'd say it does not feels stronger, man. At the moment. I think Lightning Staff will still be viable on a Magic Sword. Sure. Yeah. Especially when you want to AoE some shit, dude. Shred it up. Hell yeah, man. How could it not? Health on the Dawnbreaker change regarding the cast time. Well, I mean, there's a little cast time to it, but it's still going to stun. It's not going to have a target cap. I mean, I have to feel it. I have to get on the PTS, which I'm not going to do now. Today's a short day. I'm going to be wrapping up here shortly. We'll be testing that kind of stuff out, though, and seeing how it feels. Fortunately, something as vague as saying how it feels is very important. And it's the best way to kind of judge certain things like that, what you're asking. The person that was talking to me about vigor like just disappeared from my chat. This is half of what I hate about Twitch, man. Someone will come in and throw some shit at you. Be like, what the fuck, man? And then you start talking to them. You respectively answer their question. And then you're like, so what's the issue? And they're just like, they just shut the fuck up. And they just disappear. They don't talk to you anymore. They're just like, yeah, I guess I'm a fucking idiot. But they don't want to say anything. They just want to come in here, take a huge steaming pile of shit in the channel they go into, and then just, not feel responsible for it at all. Just be like, I don't have to own up to that shit. I can do what I want. Go right over to the next channel, and they'll probably repeat the same fucking thing in the next channel. God help us, dude. I think this patch 8 to 10 feels good. I mean, there's a lot in there. Some things that won't work, sure. But patch is big, But yeah, there's a lot that seems pretty cool, dude. I think overhealing is an issue. I don't think they'll remove heal from momentum. My issue with Vigor was that realistically I'm going to choose resolving, which doesn't heal who's with me. It's strongest heal. So when I decide to group, I can't off-heal my team. But you can. You can take Echoing Vigor, and if you and your one friend cast Echoing Vigor, you will officially have a much stronger version of healing Vigor. Right off the bat. Right off the bat. Now, if you instead opt to just have solo Vigor and you're running with your friend and you both each cast solo Vigor, you can do that too. It'll heal at a higher frequency for a lot less than what it costs in the current live environment. So again, what is the issue? It's actually going to heal for more. Like it would be a problem if I could swap Morse. Well, that's another issue. That's different. And I hear you on that one. Like there's a lot of cases where that happens. And a lot for people that go from PvE to PvP. More people have wanted skill respecs in Cyrodiil, and I am all for that, and I believe that should be something that's there. I think it should be more affordable. I think it should be more reasonable to go and talk to something and be like, I want to be in PvP setup now, by the way, and it knows what to do. It knows to switch you. It kind of knows what you want. Easing that process would make it much easier for people to ping-pong between the two. Absolutely. That's a different issue, though. To say that both... If the complaint is that both morphs are good, I mean, that's not really the problem. That it's a pain in the ass, I hear you on that. I get that. Everyone feels that pain. That sucks. But that's a different issue, and that could be solved. I mean, that issue is literally created because there's good options. And that's not a bad thing. When you have good options to your morphs and it creates a whole new problem that you need a better way to respec things because there's too many choices, that's not a bad thing. It's just a different problem that needs to be resolved. That's all. That's my opinion, at least. Should I be worried as a newer player spending time figuring out the current state of the game and getting the gear? I feel like I've wasted now. No, not at all. No, a lot of the base mechanics still apply there, dude. Just different changes to how people end up at the very end. That's all. A lot of things still. New made weapons will boost soul trap and oblivion foes. Yeah, no, I know. We're gonna find a lot of balance issues like that on the PTS. Report those disgusting ones. The ones you guys are talking about with the soul trap shit, that shit's going to be... It's already posted, I guarantee you. I know you agree about counterplay is an important part of the game. Do you agree that things like Dawnbreaker and Incap should not be able to be block canceled and cast instantly, or do you think they should be able to do that? You're talking about animation cancel here is what you're really getting at. Should people be able to do it? Sure. I mean, it's part of the game. But do I agree that they should not be able to be block canceled to be cast instantly? I guess I get what you're getting at here. And that only bypasses things like the roll dodge change. Certain things being delayed on the other end. I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's not like you could react to that. You can't really react to an incap. By the time you hear the incap or see it, it's already registered. It's already too late. You can't hear an incap and be like, it's time to dodge. That doesn't work. It should, but it doesn't. New Vigor would be good for Soul Stam Blade. Yeah, it would be good for any solo stam. What I find really funny is the other day you went explaining how the changes are made and they should be done on the micro level, yet they dumped this huge change just days later. I just find that ironic. Who, me? I don't know if I recommended that, and I'm pretty sure I didn't say just make chains at the micro level. I've talked about a lot of differences between what affects the meta and changes from a micro and a high level standpoint. And what's happening is, like things start to shift. That's the whole meta, and how that shifts from micro changes, but all this leads back to like what's the direction, what's the goal, what's the intention. That's part of what I like to understand. And I think they could work on some communication to some of these changes, maybe like the healing one, to be like, if they think that would have been a good explanation. I don't know why they did the healing one. I think there's a couple positives to it. Or why did they do the vigor one? Or there deserves to be more questions asked on some of the bigger changes they made. There's already a shuffle nerf post, yeah. LOL, who cares? Yeah, maybe we just shouldn't care. Maybe we could spend our lives on something better. Did I miss the giveaway? You did not. It's a good setup to run on a bow and dual wield stamp circle for PvP. All right, I can't do that right now. I'm not doing builds. Ride the Lightning build. I would use Ride the Lightning build for that, because that's exactly what that build is. I am going to wrap it up for today, dudes. We got to cover both patch notes. I'm going to put this on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to follow the Twitch channel. Best way to support the Twitch channel, come watch the Twitch stream. Feel free to subscribe. This is all, of course, available on Outcast's site. All right. So feel free to check it out there, too. This is where everything will be kept up to date for this patch going forward. New sets are on here. Hey, he's even got the CP calculator. All right. Builds, whatever you name it. Patch notes are on here as well if you want to see any of the stuff that we've been talking about, which actually is right here. So, I mean, feel free to check it out. I'll drop this in the link, too, for that. But for today, I'll be done. We'll be engaging the PTS over the course of the next month as well. And we'll be checking out some of these changes as they come along and happen. But, yeah. I want to thank some of the dudes that came in here. Everybody that subbed, supporting the stream today. Appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow with some more action. Tomorrow will finally be action. We're done reading. It's time to split skulls, Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's exciting. Change is exciting. You have to know change is exciting. Sometimes it sucks when it eventually happens. Sometimes it's fucking amazing. But we'll do it all together. We'll find a way. All right? That's how we do this shit.